Yes, this is DJ Ski, and this is the Sports Card Strategy Show. You already know there is no off-season.
I'm Jeff Wilson, and I'm loving the content here on the Sports Card Strategy Show. There is no off-season.
All right, you ready to rock?
Ready to go.
What's up, everybody? I'm Paul Hickey with NoOffSeason.com. This is the Sports Card Strategy Show. Don't forget to get a free 30-day trial at NoOffSeason.com today to help you make money flipping sports cards, build your sports card investment portfolio, get unlimited advice from our experts, and take sports card school to navigate the hobby. That's NoOffSeason.com. Get your free 30-day trial today. All the data we use on the Sports Card Strategy Show is from MarketMoversApp.com. Use code NOOFFSEASON at MarketMoversApp.com to get 20% off for life after a free 14-day trial. All right, let's get to the Sports Card Strategy. Listen, learn, and earn. That's what I want all of us to do here at the Sports Card Strategy Show. I'm Paul Hickey. You're the NoOffSeason.com family, and I'm very excited to have you with me. And I'm very excited to be back in the NoOffSeason.com studios here in Nashville, Tennessee, after returning from the National Sports Card Collectors Convention in Cleveland, Ohio. Technically, it's called the National Sports Collectors Convention, but sports cards dominated. They've got a little bit of everything there, but more than anything else, they've got sports cards, and I am here to help you make money flipping sports cards. So what we're going to do on today's show is we're going to make you feel like you were at the National. If you weren't at the National, we're going to make you feel like you were at the National, and we're not just going to talk about what a great time we had. We're going to talk about, is it worth paying for the VIP package? What's in the National VIP gift bag? We're going to talk with some of the top marketplaces, grading companies, content creators, and card manufacturers in the hobby. We'll talk about how to flip from outside the US. We've got a large international audience, and they want to know, how do I buy cards in the US and flip them in the US without having to deal with the customs fees, the shipping fees? We've got solutions for you. We're going to talk about player licensed cards. Are they growing in popularity? And are they growing in value due to NIL deals? We've got some great content coming from you today from Fanatics Collect, CGC, Jeremy Lee of Sports Cards Live, Wild Card. Stay tuned for that. That's a phenomenal interview with our new friend Jay. And we're going to talk about a new service that we're launching exclusively for premium members of NoOffSeason.com related to card review and grading. We'll also check in quickly on some Olympic prices because the Olympics are going on. Who's up as an Olympian in the U.S. team? We'll get into that. But first, our question of the day. I mentioned the National VIP package. So whether or not you were at the National, we want to talk about this because I think it's great information. Is the National VIP package worth buying? If you were at the National, let us know in our pinned post on Instagram at Sports Card Strategy. If you didn't attend, we're going to talk on today's show about my thoughts on the VIP package. And I'd like your comments. I'd like your questions on that pinned post. So we're going to get into some footage from the National with myself and our guy, Lefty McKee. And then we're going to get into some shout outs and some interviews with the people that I mentioned earlier in the show. I'm excited to get into this show. It's power packed. So if you were not at the National, you're going to want to watch and listen to this entire show. If you were at the National, there was so much to do that you probably didn't catch any of this content anyway. So let's get into it. Here we go. Up first is my guy, Kendall the Lefty McKee, interner behind the camera, and yours truly. From the VIP room, we recorded this on Wednesday morning at the National. Let's get into it. What's up? NoOffSeason.com fam. Welcome to a special segment here on the Sports Card Strategy Show. I'm here with my guy on camera, Kendall the Lefty McKee, and our guy behind the camera, Turner Schaus, the interner.
Come on.
And by the way, I think you gave Connor credit for that nickname, but actually, this guy.
Yes.
This guy gave it to him. And we're here at the National VIP room, everyone. So the first thing we want to do in this special segment of the Sports Card Strategy Show, and Lefty Cards, by the way, is, Kendall, let's go through the gift bag. I think the people want to know what's in the National VIP gift bag. Now, we're not like really very important people, but we just paid money for the VIP gift bag because we want to show you guys what's in the gift bag, because to me, this is a big part of coming to the National.
Yeah.
If you're going to come to the National, it's $25 for a regular ticket to get in, which is great.
Per day.
Per day. Yep, per day. But if you want to spend a little bit more money, mine was $170 and it's all week. And you get VIP access to this lounge, which will show you. You'll see here what the lounge looks like. We've got food and a VIP party later today, and the gift bag. So I actually think, we were talking to Turner about this earlier, I actually think you can sell things out of the gift bag and probably end up making more money. Like, it's a play. The gift bag is a play.
That's cool. I mean, we already saw that there is a national exclusive Caitlin Clark rookie card in her Fever jersey.
Yeah, Turner has it.
There's not very many.
There's going to be some
Fever
marketing
cards
stuff. Like, well, I guess we'll shout out everybody because they actually spend quite a bit of money on this. So
Pristine Elite.
Yep. Robert Edwards Auctions.
A lot of Jordan stuff in this Pristine Elite.
DC Sports 87 is one of the more legitimate consigners on eBay. Andy Kaysen of the Football Card Quest swears by them. Heritage Auctions. You guys probably know a lot of these names.
Little Babe Ruth jersey worth $30 million.
Beckett online price guide. I don't know if I mean, you've got Market Movers, you've got Card Ladder, you've got Card Hedger, you've got
They're all in here.
eBay, you've got 130 points. So Beckett still has the online price guide. What do you think? Drop a comment below. Like, do you guys use the Beckett online price guide? To me, I think I like the nostalgia of the Beckett magazine, but you got Market Movers in here. Use the promo code NOOFFSEASON to save 20% for life. You've got an eBay straight from the National. Kendall's like, use this promo code. I'm like, no, let's use our promo code.
No, I was saying
no off season.
Don't use
no
this
off
one.
season. Don't use the one in the VIP gift bag. Use no off season because you save more. I don't know if that's true or not, but you help us, and that's what we care about. You helping us because we help you. What is this, Kendall? This is straight from the National eBay. You want to explain to the people what that is?
Join us in real life on the eBay app for epic breaks, exclusives, and more appearances from your favorite athletes and celebrities. This is, I think, what Probstein has been doing. He's been going live and selling stuff in break format on eBay. So I think eBay's trying to do this. Plus, they're probably promoting Zion cases here. Zion case has a new case that they're advertising here, so you get one for free. That's cool.
I like that. And then you've got some clever marketing here. So Alt gives you $100 fake $100 bill. Don't try to pay people with that. Want to maximize the value of your cards and get cash now? Bring them to Alt at booth 6041 and get guaranteed cash advance today. We'll securely transport your cards back to our vault and list them in Alt auctions. Get instant cash today and unlimited upside in the auction. Interesting. We don't do anything with Alt, really, so just kind of interesting to remind myself that Alt exists. Maybe there's something there. CGC Cards, the perfect place to slab your favorite sports cards. From their crystal clear holders to their affordable pricing, CGC Cards is the perfect stop for your grading needs. Go to cgccards.com to start grading today. They've got a little something going on with ComC. So, I mean, really just a lot of marketing materials so far. We haven't got to the cool stuff yet. Ludex, which I've never heard of before. Ludex app. They're a sponsor of the VIP Lounge.
This is they have a similar system to Market Movers. Plus, they have an app, or they have a interactive map of the entire floor upstairs.
Oh, yeah, we're going to check. Is that what you downloaded?
Yeah.
Okay, so for those of you who are coming to the National either this week or in the future, we've got new technology that has interactive maps, which I think will only get better and better because, I mean, I'll be interested to see, Lefty, how that works throughout the show, because if you think about an interactive map that also allows dealers to track inventory, how badass would that be?
That would be sick.
Because
so,
then you
could look up a card in the room.
Yes, exactly. And I think our guys at we talked to the CEO of Mascot with mascot.com, and he was telling me that like that's something that they have the ability to do. For anyone who like tracks their inventory with Mascot at a show, that can happen. So that would be pretty sweet.
Just live update. That's awesome.
Yeah. Arena Club. So we've done some stuff with Arena Club. Hopefully they're going to sponsor the show. We'll see. JSA Spence Authentication, now a partner of CGC Cards. The CGC Cards acquired them, so that's pretty cool.
Arena Club is Derek Jeter's company.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
All right. Lefty has a better mic stand than I do, so good work. Bo Jackson Battle Arena, more Heritage Auction. There's a lot of marketing stuff. Last year, if you were at the National, there was a nooffseason.com sports card strategy show flyer for us to crack your slabs for free. Remember that, Kendall?
I do. Yeah, my hands are still recovering.
Yeah. Yeah. My hands didn't crack as many slabs as your hands, so mine recovered faster. You get a free, tell the people about this free Paul Skeens card from Steel City Collectibles.
Yeah, so there's a 2,500 made. You get a free promo Paul Skeens rookie card. Of course, it's not licensed because it is with Leaf, which nobody's shocked about that. But you do get a free national exclusive Paul Skeens card, which could be worth probably between $10 and $15.
Anything national exclusive, I think you could, again, this is what I was talking about earlier. You can use the gift bag as a play. It not only ends up being economical from a entrance fee standpoint, and probably from like a food standpoint and just a place to sit down, but you can make money off it. So I'm interested to see how Turner does on his Caitlin Clark, and we're gonna get to what I pulled here in a second, or what's in mine and what's in left.
There is always like free national exclusive cards, but you kind of have to like go find them. Like it's kind of like a scavenger hunt. Harry did that last year. But this one says, look for the unopened boxes of national exclusive redemption programs from Panini Topps Upper Deck, Leaf, TriStar, and more.
Love it. I love Harry. Harry and Alan. They did a great job last year. Okay, so we've got like Sports Collectors Digest has an issue in here. There's a nice Heritage Auction
with a
catalog.
Non-live map in on the inside.
Guess who I got in my national exclusive Panini pack?
Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark. I think we all got Caitlin Clark.
Yeah. Derek Lively's on the back.
But here's the thing. Derek Lively is on the back. But here's the thing. There's only, how many VIPs would you say are at the National?
Probably.
Like, what's the print run on this Fokker?
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's see. So in 2021, it was the biggest National that they've ever had at the time, and I don't know the numbers at this point, but at that point there was 100,000 people at the show. I would say there's probably less than that now because 21 was when the bubble was happening. So I would say we're probably around 50 to 60,000 people registered.
Okay.
And I would say probably 30% of those people are VIPs.
Yep.
So 10,000?
So yeah, we got a print run of about 10,000. I was going to say somewhere between 3 and 10,000.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a wide range, obviously. But, like, so when you consider, most of you are not here, by the way. Like, most of the people are not here that are listening to the Sports Card Strategy Show right now, or were not here at the National, and probably will be coming in future years. So don't feel bad. The reason we're doing this show is because whether you were here or not, we want you to have the experience of being here and kind of know what's going on. So what I'm going to do...
Well, you made good money on some national exclusive stuff last year.
Yeah, because the Tupac cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought the Tupac cards from our guys at Gas Trading Cards, and I love Tupac. Turner, are you a hip-hop guy? Yeah, I thought he was because he's a basketball dude.
Looks like it.
Most people
East
who
Jessamine
play
High School.
basketball have some element of hip-hop in them. Just some.
What do you think my sum is?
0%.
Really?
Maybe like...
I played basketball.
Yeah, but you don't know. I don't think you knew who Tupac was until I bought his cards.
I definitely knew who Tupac was. That's disrespectful, Paul.
Okay, 5%?
Maybe 3%. 3%.
3%. Some level of hip hop.
Well, first off, you're showing your age by calling it hip hop.
Well, what do you call it?
Rap.
It's the same thing. I call it rap too. But hip hop.
Would you say, Turner, would you say hip hop is an old name?
Haha, kind of resurfacing. Is it Gen Z?
Gen Z, it's a lot to manage. I don't know.
Okay, well, I like the bag that I got better than the bag that you guys got.
Yeah.
But mine ripped already. So maybe I don't like it. Okay. What you guys all really care about are the cards that are in the gift bag. So again, what we were talking about before we got off track, because Lefty throws me off, is Caitlin Clark. Everyone probably got the same Caitlin Clark card, but I'm going to list this probably today. Like when we get off this segment, I'm probably going to list it on eBay. I'll probably start it later tonight. National exclusive, low pop count, all the buzzwords in there. And then, sealed Panini pack.
You're not going to open it?
Hell no. And then here's another one. Did you guys get Jaden Daniels on the front of yours?
Yeah.
Okay. Jaden Daniels, so we all got that. But dude doesn't have that many cards out.
You see it?
So you got to get rid of that now, too, while people care about him. I think Upper Deck's done this exact same thing for the 3 years that I've been to the National. And it's just a Michael Jordan card on the front, VIP prominent cuts. So I think I've given...
But on the back, it is Connor McDavid.
So that's being listed tonight. Now here's a cool thing, because we love CGC cards, the perfect place to slab your favorite sports cards. From their crystal clear holders to their affordable pricing, CGC Cards is the perfect stop for your grading needs. Go to cgccards.com to start grading your cards today. You like how I know that off the top of my head now?
I do.
Like I've been reading it for the last several months, but now I just know it. Okay.
You're a machine.
V-Friends promo 2024. It's already slabbed. This is badass. Like, all kidding aside about the CGC promo read, like, this is badass from CGC. It's a V-Friends 2024 national exclusive promo sticker, and I'm sure there's something with this. Like, I'm sure there's like something that you can redeem this for. There's probably what I guess is going on with this is there's probably some rare ones and then some common ones, and if you can like collect all of them and put them together, you probably get something big somewhere. Like you were saying, that's like a scavenger hunt type thing that happens somehow at every national. I'll ask Maddox Yost what's up, because he always knows.
Good old Maddox, dude. He got us in the right place at the right time.
He did. We're actually going to talk about that in a second. The pre-national trade night. But this is cool because it's already slabbed. So I'm going to list this too.
Yeah, might as well. I mean, just list it all, see what happens.
So, I mean, I paid, it's $200 for the VIP gift bag. I might be able to get $200 for all of this stuff.
That's crazy.
On
man.
eBay.
Yeah, I think, so this is a V-Friends promo sample slab, but at the same time, CGC is playing to their audience here because they grew into the market with TCG cards. And so they're playing to their audience here with some TCG V-Friends type. You know, V-Friends is a mock between an NFT and a sports card and somewhere in between that. And so they're playing to their strengths here. I like the business model here from CGC and from Gary V himself. So
I love it. I absolutely love it. Now this is another pack that is a Japanese single strike. Do you know what this is? Do you know what this is, Turner?
That would be Pokemon.
This is Pokemon?
Yep.
Okay. I did not know that. Thanks, Lefty.
Do you know what Pokemon that is on the front?
No clue. Fartzard.
What percent? You know, I bet. Am I a higher percent hip hop than you are Pokemon?
100%.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like 0.0001% Pokemon.
Wow. Can you name any Pokemon?
Yeah, Charizard
Okay,
and
right.
who's the like lovable one?
I'm not
that
gonna
everybody
tell
knows?
you that he's yellow. He's a mouse.
Pikachu.
Yeah.
I knew that. Thank you, Turner. Turner gave me the Pikachu.
Yeah.
Okay. Lefty.
This is Venusaur, by the way.
Who?
Venusaur.
Venusaur. Sounds too much like Penisaur.
It's a family-friendly show.
Penis sore. So I'm going to list it on eBay.
Turner's like, that was really loud. You with the headphones. Penis sore.
So again, I'm losing my hearing. I think everyone in this large VIP room turned around when I said penis sore.
Sure.
I'll probably get a text from our guy Tim Larson, who loves when I say stuff like that on the show. I mean, this VIP room is huge. Like this is not as like this is the best VIP setup
absolutely
of all time.
Yeah.
It's getting, for those of you who have never been to a national,
VIP room was horrific.
I mean, it was like a hotel conference room that had been partitioned off.
Yeah, that's generous.
And there was nothing special about it. This is like, there's signage all around. You've got massive amounts of tables. They're already like looking to set up for the food for the VIP party later. The communication's better this year. I mean, everything about the National is getting better and better. And if you're just a patron like we are this year, the cost hasn't gone up to get here. The VIP tickets are still the same amount. Yeah, so great discussion there on the VIP lounge. And again, if you're watching on youtube.com/Paul Hickey or wherever we're going live right now, you can see like this is the crowd to get out of the VIP room on Wednesday and into the show before the general public gets access. And it is, as I mentioned, massive. And I've told multiple people that the VIP room at the National throughout the week was like bigger than most other card shows. So it was almost like you could go to the National, and now you're looking at the show floor here as we're walking around for the first time on Wednesday morning. You could go to the National, and then if you wanted to like go downstairs to like another card show that was smaller, you could do that. So that was phenomenal. I absolutely loved the experience of being able to have access to the VIP room because it was kind of like your own little personal trade night. And we're going to talk about the strategy. We're going to talk, we hinted at some of the strategy related to what you could do with things in the VIP gift bag. And we talked about the Tuesday night trade night. We ended up hitting up so many trade nights throughout the week and different events. We went to the after show. Shout out to North Shore Cards. Jacob at North Shore Cards. Great job with the after show. It got shut down by the fire marshal because it was so massive. And then they brought it back at another location. The relentlessness, the dedication of the hobby is amazing. The people, the dealers, the flippers, the collectors, the consigners, everybody, everybody is just doing a phenomenal job. And appreciate Jacob at North Shore Cards for making the after show happen. Appreciate Roadshow Cards, Card Collector 2, Jimmy Mahan, Chase Krim, Cody Krim, all their team for making those trade nights happen. Some other shout outs, Tyler Schmidt, Adam Rips, Gary V, Paloma Castillo from eBay, Mojo Sports Cards LLC on Instagram, Doc Collectible, DJ Ski, Raymond with Veriswap, Raph Mosley, the Prism God, Jeff Wilson of Sports Card Investor, Carter and Ryan with Cards HQ, my guy Teapot, CGC Cards, Megan at eBay. What's up, Megan at eBay? Liz Goodnow and Tom Barilli at Whatnot. Jimmy Spence, I mentioned him earlier. I met Jimmy Spence. The guys at Slab Stocks, Aaron and his dad. What great guys. Mike's Trading Cards. Check out youtube.com/ Mike's Retro Trading Cards. My guy Chris Kelsey at Nash Cards. Love him. Got to spend some time with him there. That was awesome. Al with Wax Stat. You're looking right now at Turner Schaus. What a great guy. Loved having him with Lefty. You've got Clark with 5 card guys. And Iowa Dave, my main man, Iowa Dave. Can't forget Mr. Minty. Jay from Wildcard. We're going to talk to him in a minute. And then we've got some loyal nooffseason.com family members, listeners of the Sports Card Strategy Show that I got to meet up with. Skeeter Robinson, Homer Sports Cards, Ryan Painter, SSI, Southern Soccer Idiot, dozens and dozens of you that attended. Just missed guys like Scott, Mann, and some other new members. But man, it was awesome walking up and down the aisles of the National and just meeting so many of you out there. So big time, just absolute networking, card flipping. We're going to get into the strategy on Wednesday. We're going to talk about my moves, lefties moves, our wins, our losses, our lessons learned. And on Wednesday, we're going to talk way more about what to do coming out of the National, because we still got the rest of 2024 and into 2025 with helping you flip. And I wanted to show you guys some of this footage here of just skipping the line. I mean, just the ability to skip the lines, make the VIP package worth it. The ability to go to the bathroom, make the VIP package worth it. Believe it or not, like the lines for the bathrooms are just ridiculous. So, I mean, if you really have to go to the bathroom, and I have a pretty small bladder, so I have to go a lot. I mean, you can wait in line in the bathroom for like 30 minutes to an hour on Friday and Saturday at the National. So just to have access to the VIP room was great. Again, I made some of my best plays. Lefty mentioned it on Tuesday at the trade night. Shout out to Maddox Yost, who told me about it, and Den's Cards, and Jacob at North Shore Cards for getting me in and getting me a table. That was great. And then some of my best plays were at the Wednesday night trade night as well. And so, you're going to see some footage here from the Wednesday night trade night. And, we had a little surprise happen at the beginning of the trade night that you're going to see pretty much any second now. This was cool. Having access to the VIP room and getting down to the trade night early, courtesy of Roadshow Cards, allowed some special things to happen. And you're about to see one of them here any second now, as we look at just how massive the VIP room was and the crowds on the official trade night of the National. Shout out Brian Steeler 714.
Paul Hickey, how you doing, sir?
What's up, Jeff?
We're live here on Sports Card Investor, man. This is Paul Hickey of the Sports Card Strategy Show podcast. What cards did you bring to trade tonight?
I got a lot of football, some Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Breece Hall, some basketball, Paolo Banchero. I'm into him right now.
Yeah.
Some Bowman stuff, Jeff. So I don't know how you feel about the Bowman. Bowman U, Chrome, Carson Beck, Marvin Harrison Jr., so we'll see. Prospecting on some college QBs.
Well, right now, Carson Beck, I think, is probably a smart one, because he's going to get opportunities next season in the NFL, and then, or I guess the season after this upcoming one in the NFL, right? So he'll be a name of the future, so people will be looking back to his first Bowman autos. And Marvin Harrison Jr., has he ever signed it? He hasn't signed the deal yet to do signatures, right? So that's probably one of his only signatures on a card.
That's the play. That's my play right now, is that my understanding is that he won't have any other cards in the near future. So hopefully, if he starts off hot with the Arizona Cardinals, these will be the cards people will want.
Yeah, it's actually a really good idea. Yeah. Paul Hickey, savvy guy. I like that.
All right. So really cool things happening at the National for everybody, especially myself and our team at nooffseason.com. Very, very grateful for the experience. And we're just getting started, because we're dedicating today's show and Wednesday's show to talking about the National. Today's goal is to help you listen, learn, and earn from some of the top marketplaces, grading companies, and card companies that we talk to at the National, as well as content creators. The goal of Wednesday's show is going to be to get into what we normally talk about, the nitty-gritty of our plays, our wins, our losses, our strategies, lessons learned, and what to do moving forward. We say hello real quick to loyal audience members in the live chat. Card Snatcher, George Schurer, and MW. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining live. Don't forget to drop a comment below at youtube.com/Paul Hickey, or comment on our pinned post on Instagram. Let us know, is the National VIP package worth buying, skipping the lines, getting a parking pass, access to the bathroom, access to the VIP lounge throughout the show to kind of visit your own like little mini card shows throughout the week. All right, a couple things. I want to shout out Andy Kaysen and Carter Bryant from Football Card Quest. They could not make it to the National, but Andy, I asked Panini for an update on our Rookie Premier First Look cards, RPS. No update. They just told me, just wait. We don't know. It's a production issue. Kind of stupid. I mean, there's a lot of things I like about Panini, but where are the RPS Rookie Premier First Look cards? Come on, guys. And you got to have a better update than that. When people go over to the Panini booth and they talk to customer service about their issue, we ordered these cards in late May, Panini. Late May. It's late July. That's 2 full months later. Where are the RPS cards? Come on now. All right. We're fired up. We're going to keep the momentum going here because as I was walking around the show floor, I saw one of my favorite people, and I've been on their show before, and it's time to get on their show again. So here's how it went down with my main woman, Elena from DA's The Chase.
Former guest sought me out here in the Pat McAfee-esque style we have going on at my standing desk that raises and lowers. And I remember him because it was one of our best interviews that broke my heart. Sports Card Strategy's very own Paul Hickey.
Elena, what's up?
Welcome to the Cleveland National.
It's great to see you.
It's great to see you. It's great to meet you, see you. And chat, you know what he said? He said, you know what we could talk about? Backup QB strategy.
That's
and
right.
he said the golden word, Sam Howell.
That's right.
So before we get into all of that and I get super emotional and super heated and I, throw my laptop and I get out of here, how are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah. I couldn't be better.
You couldn't?
I could not be better.
Not even
a
little?
Being here. Well, I mean, if I make some sports card flips in the next month, I will be better.
Yeah.
As NFL season is starting to heat up.
And that is so exciting for football collectors.
Yes.
So, where are you coming from? Where are you based out of?
Nashville.
Okay. So, no problems with Delta? I keep asking everybody this.
No problems. I flew Southwest.
There it is.
And a lot of people were on my flight that were coming here. It was kind of funny because, at the gate, people were like, hey, you want to get our cards out and make some deals?
Yeah.
I'm like, this is sick.
Did you?
No, but we're just talking about the show.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Gotta find me on the floor.
Yeah.
Can't make these airport hangar deals, right?
Trade night at the airport.
So are you here for the entire duration of the show?
Entire duration of the show, and it was it started right when I hit the ground. It was like, hey, you want to go to this trade night? Hey, you want to go to the Guardians game?
Yeah, everyone was at the Guardians game the other night.
Super fun.
It is fun. I went on Monday with the team, and it was
nice.
That was my second ever MLB game because I'm not much of a baseball person, but it was a lot of fun. So, how's the show going? Talk about that. What are we focusing on? Is it backup QBs? Is that really what we're focusing?
We'll talk about backup QB strategy because it's definitely a real thing.
Okay.
The Sports Card Strategy show is going very well. We're very fortunate to have a growing and passionate and very friendly audience.
Yeah.
I think the concept of flipping sports cards probably rubs some people the wrong way initially because people think about the restocking of the shelves at retail, and they think of flippers as people who are gonna stalk the restockers and then sell the sealed product right away. And that's not what we do. We buy and sell singles, and we treat it more like player prospecting, stock market, a little bit of fantasy GM analysis involved, and the cards are the assets, so it's fun. And I think it appeals to whether people who want to fund their PC or just flip to make money to fund their life. And NoOffSeason.com's doing very well, and so is Sports Card Strategy Show. So thanks for asking.
Yeah, of course. I always follow what you do, and it's interesting to hear your perspective and that sort of thing. I'm all about the NFL, so we can just stick with that right now. Talk about that. What are we seeing, at least the second you stepped a foot on the national floor? What have you been seeing kind of turn?
Hot quarterbacks. You've got the 2023 rookie class, obviously, is hot. Jordan Love is hot.
Okay, so Tom from Hit Parade just said that. He was saying people are coming up to Hit Parade trying to sell Jordan Love to them. What? I'm just not sold. Are you sold?
I like him.
Yeah.
I like him. It's got to be for the right price.
Right.
Like, everybody's got to be for the right price, which makes it hard.
Yeah.
Because Jordan Love is on the rise, so he's expensive.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are fading him because they say he's too expensive.
Right.
They say he's already hit his upside potential. But the way that it works is if he has one spike week, and if he's an MVP candidate after the first 3 to 4 weeks of the season, he'd 2x, 3x, 4x's.
Right.
And so you got to be willing. I think the people buying into Jordan Love right now are the people who really believe in him getting off to a hot start.
Yeah.
But I could see people fading him too, which makes him kind of hard to move at an event like this.
Yeah, and that's what I was just thinking too. Like, it seems like that's like the guy right now. So it is an interesting perspective to me. Like Jordan Love, I didn't really watch Green Bay too much last year, so like I don't know what to think about him.
Yeah, I like him. I think he's going to play well. I don't know if he's going to be. He doesn't strike me as someone who cares about being a superstar or being in the media.
Yeah.
And that could hurt his cards in the long run.
Yeah.
So my advice is, even though I like him as a player, I think he's a quick flip. I think once he has a spike week in September, if you're looking to make money on him, that's when you should sell him.
Yeah.
Because then his prices won't rise unless he wins a Super Bowl or goes to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Which only
exactly.
two quarterbacks can do, and that's hard to pick.
Yeah, true. Talking about Super Bowl prospecting way too early.
Yeah.
I was seeing other people do it. So who do you think? Who do you think is going to go to the Super Bowl?
Okay, I mean, it's going to be tough to not see the Chiefs and the 49ers.
Oh, my God.
But I don't want to see them.
I know.
But the cool thing about the NFL, I think the NFL is the best soap opera in the world.
Yes, it is.
It could change.
Yeah.
It could be anybody.
Yeah.
And so it could be the Lions. It could be the Eagles. It could be, in the AFC. It could be the Ravens, the Bengals, the Browns. I mean.
So you know what? You mentioned the Bengals, and that's something I've been thinking about Joe Burrow and his value. If he comes back and he doesn't have a great season, or he has they make the first round of the playoffs and they're an exit or something like that. What do you think where does his value lie?
Joe Burrow's value is already up, depending on the card, but his most liquid cards, let's say his 2020 Donruss Optic Hollow PSA 10, his Prism Silver PSA 10, even his Prism Base PSA 10, just the most liquid Joe Burrow cards, they're already up significantly from where they were in December.
Really?
So now is not a bad time to get out of Joe Burrow.
Okay.
And then to your point about him potentially going to the Super Bowl or going into the playoffs, a great time to buy back in is Thanksgiving through Christmas.
Okay.
So Joe Burrow is the perfect guy to get out of and then get back into.
Interesting.
And then get out of during the playoffs.
You're like, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy,
That's
sell,
my
buy.
game.
I love it though. I love that perspective because I call myself I'm a flipper of the hobby. Like I love to just see what we can do there.
Yeah.
So I love this perspective because I'm like, okay, take notes on what we can do. All right. I think it's time for the bread and butter.
I think it's time.
I need to hear it. Sam Howell, backup QB. So backup QB prospecting. Talk about what you mean by that.
Okay, so I like to look at historical pattern recognition, right? So history repeats itself, especially in the NFL. Everybody gets injured all the time. QBs get injured all the time. We've seen Cooper Rush, Mike White in recent years.
Cooper Rush, what a callback.
We saw Tyler Bagent last year for the Chicago Bears.
Is it Bagent or I was calling him Bagnet.
Probably Bagent.
Bagnet. I'm so
Bagent.
bad.
Tyler B.
Yeah, Tyler B.
We saw the dude who filled in for Joe Burrow. I can't think of who it was.
Oh my God! And he was like
and he lit it up.
The hypest hype ever.
We saw the dude in New York, the Giants backup. So it's going to happen in probably at least a third of the markets this year.
Okay.
So backup QB strategy is a real thing, and you got to be careful because I don't want everybody going out there and buying every backup QB.
Yeah, that's a dangerous game.
But your guy, who you asked me about the last time we spoke on the show, who I dogged a little bit.
Yeah, you did.
I said, isn't the Washington Commanders going to draft a QB? And they did. But before that, they traded Sam Howell to the Seahawks.
Yep.
Now your guy, Sam Howell, is one of my guys.
Yeah, welcome to the dark side.
He's one Geno Smith injury away
That's what I bet.
from honestly being one of the biggest chases in the hobby.
Wake, clip that. Wake, clip that, please. Clip. Someone clip that. No, that's what I'm like. Okay, I have a whole bit. You know it. I love Sam Howell, but he's not like the dirt on my shoe bad. He can throw the ball.
Yeah.
So when you talk about strategy, like what traits do you look for in a backup QB to make it so that it's an easy, quick flip?
Perfect question. So I think number one that people miss is they've got to have the right cards.
Yeah.
They've got to have like a Contenders rookie ticket auto. They've got to have like National Treasures flawless RPAs. They've got to be in more recent sets, like serial numbered Prism rookies, right? Sam Howell has all of those.
Oh yeah.
And because he was a later round draft pick, he's got in theory a lesser print run.
Yeah.
So he's in that perfect pocket. He also was kind of a hobby darling last year, leading into last year.
I know.
So he's not far removed from being relevant.
Yeah.
So he fits that. Now, he's also got to just be somebody that doesn't have a stud starter and doesn't have a starter who's like fully entrenched. Not only fully entrenched, but somebody who, like Geno Smith is old. That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
yes,
Geno Smith
like,
is old.
You can
like,
say it.
He's not injury prone, but he's old. So like Sam Howell, he's got to be in that. Now, another guy I like is Hendon Hooker in Detroit.
I like that too.
You like that too?
Yeah.
I like him because he would have been a first-round draft pick if he wouldn't have gotten injured.
Yeah.
Slid to the Lions, I think, in the 3rd round. The only problem with him is if Goff has to get injured, and I'm not rooting for anyone to get injured.
No.
It just happens. So I like Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker's more of a long shot. Sam Howell's more of like buy Sam Howell because I think Sam Howell will play. And I think when he plays, he'll play well. And when that happens, you've got the Mike White, Cooper Rush effect.
You saying Cooper Rush is so crazy because when I first started at David Adams, it was like the Cooper Rush hype for 10 seconds. And I was like, I'm buying Cooper Rush. I'm doing it. And obviously I didn't. But I'm glad I did it because I completely forgot his name until you just brought it up.
Nice.
That is so funny. What other topics have you guys been talking about on Sports Card Strategy?
So I built this thing called the Formula.
Ooh.
So the Formula is something that we cover every Monday and Wednesday on the Sports Card Strategy Show and at nooffseason.com for people who want to dig deeper.
Okay.
So there's a lot of great data tools in the hobby, and I'm not trying to outdo those data tools, but I'm trying to give a recommendations engine based on those data tools. So we aggregate data from the best, like say Market Movers, Card Ladder, 130 Point, and we put the data into our recommendations engine. Long story short, there's 2 ways to make money.
Right.
Raw to grade.
Yep.
Or buying an already graded card that has that prospecting potential. So we have a formula for raw to grade and a formula for already graded. Long story short, we rank individual cards based on the ROI percentage that you will get if you buy a bunch of the cards raw in bulk and grade them, or if you just want to go prospect PSA 10s or say take it back further like Steph Curry, LeBron James, PSA 8s, 7s, 9s, things like that.
Yeah, love that. That's so, like, your brain works so crazy to me when you're just thinking of all these different things.
I'm trying to help people solve problems, and one of the problems is like we all think that we know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But there's millions of cards. So all the formula, the only thing it does is just prioritize.
Yeah.
It says you're more likely to make money if you prioritize this card over these cards based on the data.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's just such I always enjoy talking to you. Obviously, this is our 2nd formal interview, but you just have an interesting perspective that I think more people need to know about, right? Like, to understand this kind of side to it, and you want to solve these problems for people. So I love that. Who are you hot on at this year's National? Who do you want? Who are you out there buying?
Victor Wembanyama.
Oh, everyone is.
Going out on a limb with that one, right? Like, that's Captain Obvious.
Captain Obvious. I mean, how are you even affording Victor Wembanyama? That his card prices baffle me.
Yeah.
Are you surprised by it or not at all?
I'm not surprised, but there is a little pocket of, and so some of the other guys too, like even the CJ Strouds, the Anthony Richardsons, Will Levises of the world that are still hot right now. I think the trick is now that Optic has come out for all those guys, just go back and buy Prism.
Yeah.
Because the pattern, I like pattern recognition.
Yeah.
The pattern is always when the newest release comes out, that's what everybody goes and buys. And so now that there's more supply on the market, the demand for the Prism isn't as high. So you can go back and you can buy the prisms of the players that I just mentioned for cheaper.
Yeah.
But those prices are going to go up when their season starts.
Okay.
So now is like the perfect pocket. I just bought like Wemby's. The guys that I mentioned, I've just bought them yesterday and today because we're only like 1 to 3 months away from being able to sell them for a profit.
Right.
Now that their optics are out, their prisms are down. Prisms will go back up again because that's a flagship brand, obviously.
Yeah, 100%. Paul, this is amazing. I'm glad you stood there. I'm glad you saw me. I'm glad I saw you. It is so great to talk to you. You know what we like to do. Let our chat know where they can follow you, where they can follow Sports Card Strategy Show, that whole thing.
Absolutely. Sports Card Strategy Show. It's a great listen on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. YouTube.com/Paul Hickey. Sports Card Strategy on Instagram. NoOffseason.com.
Bing, bang, boom. Love it. You have it all. Thank you so much for jumping on the show with me today. Good luck at your national. Good luck finding those Wembanyamas for really cheap.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah.
You're one of my favorite people, and I'm so glad we got to meet face to face.
I know, this is great. Like I was telling everyone in the chat, I'm like, if you see me, like come say hi. Like I want to meet everybody here this year.
Do me a favor, say, there is no off season.
There is no off season.
Let's go.
Let's go. Love that. Thank you, Paul. We're going to send you over to the live lounge for a quick break, and we'll be back with K-Dubs at 12:30. Let's go.
Thanks to Elena. Thanks to The Chase by Dave and Adams. That's how the culture is at the National. I mean, honestly, like Elena's one of the best people, but like that's how it is. So if you haven't been, don't be intimidated. Don't be scared. Everybody's nice. Don't be afraid to go up to your favorite people and tell them, because they will be so welcoming. And like Elena is a great person, but I'm telling you, everybody is like that at the National for the most part. For the most part, I'd say 99.9% of people are like that. Many, many more people who are like that are coming up right now on the Sports Card Strategy Show as we make you feel like you were at the National if you weren't there. One of my favorite content creators, Jeremy Lee, is coming up. But first, we're going to talk with Fanatics Collect. We're going to talk with Director of Sales, Tony Carley, and Sales Rep, Jed Moscott. Why? Because many of you do not live in the United States of America, but you want to flip sports cards in the United States of America. I used Fanatics Collect, formerly PWCC, when I lived in Spain to be able to do this with minimal cost, not shipping across borders, right? So we're going to get into that with these guys. But we're also going to talk about what's different now that PWCC is Fanatics Collect, what improvements have been made, and how can we get good deals on auctions? Should we auction off cards with Fanatics Collect? Should we buy cards from Fanatics Collect? What's going on at Fanatics Collect? So we get into it with Tony and Jed here. Let's go. What's up, everybody? You know me, Paul Hickey. You're the NoOffseason.com fam. This is the Sports Card Strategy Show. I'm super pumped to be here at Fanatics Collect here at the 2024 National. I've got my guy Jed and my guy Tony, two super nice gentlemen that I'm happy to meet. And I want you to meet Fanatics Collect. So, Jed, we might pass the mic to Tony. You guys decide who's going to take this question. But, Tony.
Yes.
Tell the NoOffseason.com family about Fanatics Collect.
Yeah, so Fanatics Collect, approximately a year ago, we were previously PWCC Marketplace. PWCC was acquired by Fanatics, and we slowly did the rebrand, and just about, it was last week, right? Yeah, last week we've officially become Fanatics Collect, and we've got a new Collect app that's out there. It's brand new, many more features, very seamless, good user interface, easy to use, and so we're excited about that. And this is our first national that we are officially Fanatics Collect.
These guys are all great people. I have literally used their services for about the last 5 years. It started for me, as many of you know, in the vaulting service because I needed a solution for the fact that I was overseas. I had a U.S. address. I wanted to flip sports cards, make some money. And at the time, like Tony said, they were PWCC, now Fanatics Collect. Same company, improvements already happening. And our audience always wants to know, like, about the services, about the features. So you mentioned a couple of great new features in the new app. Just maybe talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, well, first to your first point, I mean, the service of the vault, weekly auctions, shipping, receiving, logistics, exactly the same. Oregon, same building, same vault, same employees. Tigard, Oregon. I live in Oregon, so I can tell you. And the only real difference is that it's being made bigger and better every day. They're really innovating the way that we turn shipping times. Our auctions are improving with imagery is always improving. The buy now marketplace has had improvements with changing to seller fees, which has been a huge. I mean, we've gotten the feedback on the change to the buy now marketplace has been.
Can you talk about that real quick?
Yeah,
you mentioned selling fees.
Yeah, so I don't have the number off the top of my head, but everything on the buy now marketplace was buyer's premium. So we actually ran the data, and it incentivizes sellers to actually have a lower seller's fee, and it creates more buying opportunity within the fixed price.
That's awesome. Yeah, Jed's going to elaborate on that because I think you guys want to know about this.
Absolutely. So, I mean, our goal here is improving the collector experience, and I think with our new buy now marketplace, any card that sells for under $120, only 6% fees. So that's the goal. Is kind of just have cards coming through, have people on the platform, new users. And then the other great thing that's happened since the rebrand is our new PSA partnership. The PSA partnership is big. We've all been really excited for it over here, and obviously it's been great to be able to display at the National.
Anything else you can add about the details about the PSA partnership? Just any highlights about how that works?
Yeah, so basically if you have a raw card and you want to submit it through Collect, still doing that once in a while. You can come up to the booth, you can submit the card through us. We just need the grading tier, and then we'll be able to submit it through our partnership. We'll be able to get it back through through Collect. Really keep doing that. And then, do you have anything else that you want to add on?
No, I guess my excitement around the PSA partnership is it completes the 4 major that we've had the other 3. BGS, SGC, and CGC for quite some time. So now that service is sort of like comes full circle, and you get all 4 options, and not even just at a trade show. If you were to ship in 10 raw cards and you wanted those raw cards to go to PSA, when you create that submission, you simply select your grading option, which is now PSA. You can select your tier. It goes through, sends to PSA, comes back, goes into your vault. Then you can go to weekly. You can go to buy now marketplace, and it stays in that ecosystem.
And you can list them. You guys ship them. The customer service is amazing. What were you going to say?
I was just saying, you can store them in the vault. You can sell them whenever you want. You can pick your weekly auctions. It's a great experience.
I can vouch for the customer service because I've used these guys for years, and I want to ask a real quick, detailed question. So, I used to buy a raw card off of some marketplace, because I'm trying to find the best deal. Of course, we know their marketplace. We'll get to your marketplace in a second, so I want to talk about that. But I'd get a card, I'd ship it to my vault, and you guys would always do a great job intaking the card. And you guys would always do a great job with the customer service of creating the grading submission for me, because I'd want these guys to send it out, Fanatics Collect to send it out to the grading company of my choice. And then you always did a great job receiving that and then shipping it out for me. So I love that. And I was in Spain.
These all sound great, by the way.
And so it sounds like all you guys have done is streamline that process so it's easier. Like you're saying now, whereas I might have had to fill out a form and email it to someone or something like that. You've made it easier on your customer service people, but you've also made it easier on your customer.
Correct.
To just
it's
say, I want
the
to.
System. Yeah,
that is awesome. So you guys should definitely check that out. Okay, can we talk about the marketplaces? I know you guys have flash auctions, you have weekly auctions, and then there's the premier auction.
Yep.
Can you walk our audience just through the difference, the major differences between the 3?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Yeah. You take weekly and
take Sotheby's. So basically, our we have weekly auctions. Okay, so we talked about buy now a little bit before. So we have buy now, where you can list on there at a set price. We also have our weekly auctions as well as our premier auctions. And so flash, to your point, is let's say it's our weekly auctions. I'll start with the run dates. It's a 10-day auction, starts Thursday and runs until the following Sunday. And so if the auction goes live Thursday and that Monday comes up, and you decide, or a player decides to have a great game, and you're like, you know what, I want to put that live into auction, you can flash it into the currently live auction. So that's what flash is. It's part of our weekly auction.
You can flash it into the weekly auction.
Exactly right.
Got it. Okay.
And then, so that covers our weekly auction. And then the premier auction is once a month. It's for cards about 20K and above. And it's a really fun auction. You know, we've had our premier night closes that we've been watching. It's a great atmosphere at the company. And it's all different types of cards, TCG, sports, everything. And then recently, I'll let Tony talk on this a little bit, but we have a new partnership with Sotheby's that we're really excited about, our first auction in September. So,
hey, Jed, before we get into that, can I ask you one or two follow-up questions on the weekly auction?
Yeah.
So I've participated, I've bought some items and sent them straight to my vault.
Yep.
I've bid on some items and I'm watching, right?
Yeah, of course.
When I see extended bidding starts in a certain amount of time,
Yes.
do I see that on a Sunday? And does that mean that,
Exactly
can you
right.
just walk, because that's different, I think, than some other marketplaces.
Yeah, of course.
Can you just walk our audience just through we're very detail oriented here at the Sports Card
I'll let you
Strategy
chime
Show.
in too, but I'll
so
start it off.
any
Yeah.
details you can offer about just
Absolutely,
like how
yeah.
that works.
So extended bidding, the point is to make sure that, you know, we have thousands of cards in each auction. We want people to be able to go after multiple cards and not be worried about a card finishing before they can bid. So basically what that means is, yes, it does start at a time. On Sunday nights, it is 7 o'clock that extended starts, and there's certain windows where that time, you'll see a clock in the upper right hand, it'll start getting shorter and shorter. And if a card in the weekly auction is bid on, in those windows, it will be extended into the next window. And so I'll let you chime in as well. You got any more on that?
Yeah, so spot on. So with weekly, it's individual items need a bid within that bidding window to move on to the next bidding window. If an item in weekly doesn't get a bid within that extended bidding window, it will close. I want to be sure that we clarify there, because Premier, which is what I'll talk about now, Premier extended bidding is much different. 7 p.m. Pacific. Premier is Thursday to Thursday, so Premier auction is once a month, runs for 14 days, Thursday to Thursday. It's usually either the first or second Thursday of the month, and then 14 days later. The extended in Premier is the whole auction starts over. So if one card, and the windows are much tinier, so you'll have like the last bidding window in Premier is a minute. So towards the end, you know, it's 8:45 Pacific, 9 o'clock Pacific. Sorry, it's late for East Coast. We apologize, but a minute window, if one card gets bid in that minute window, the whole auction starts over. And that's, you know, I think it's such a curated, smaller auction. You know, you're talking 100, 150 items versus weekly. You know, there's thousands of items in weekly, right? So starting the whole auction over just creates a really good atmosphere and kind of a buzz for people to go after things. So
Okay.
We love to watch it on our side too. It's a blast.
Say that one more time.
We love to watch it on our side because it's a blast to see. Just keep going. It goes down in the last 5 seconds. Boom, we're back. So
So cool. So what are the differences in the item characteristics that are in the weekly versus the Premier? Is it safe to assume, I'll let you answer this, but is it safe to assume that it's like 3 to 4 figure items in the weekly and then like maybe 5 figure items plus in the Premier?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, yes. So weekly is, you know, $50 slabbed items all the way up to 5-figure items, to be completely honest with you. Like, we have 5-figure items into the 30, 40, 60K range in weekly that perform really, really well. And I'll give you an example. So if somebody puts a BGS 9.5 Jordan rookie into a Premier, we won't put another 9.5 into that Premier, but that person, that owner of that card really wants to sell now. That card goes into weekly, performs just as well, sometimes even, it performs exactly how it should in weekly. So it's not 5-figure cards only to Premier. You can kind of pick and choose on where you want your platform to be, and the performance at that value threshold is pretty similar.
Okay, awesome. So this might be my last follow-up question about this. We'll see. From a seller standpoint, I think these guys have done an amazing job breaking this down, and I'm sure there's like a ton of literature on their website that you can dig into all of this, and you can ask any follow-up questions in the comments, and we'll get some answers. From a buyer's perspective, I've seen like buyer's premium and things like that. Can you just walk us through the differences and how you guys handle that between the different types of auctions with the buyer's premium?
Yeah, so there's which it's kind of standard across across other auction houses in the space, 20% buyer's premium. The buyer's premium from a seller's perspective, or do you want me to talk about it from a buyer's or
both ways? Yeah.
So from a seller's perspective, and you can find this on our website, but it's based on the value of the card. So there's a tiered system, and if the card sells for a certain price, you actually at Fanatics Collect you get a kickback and you get a portion of the buyer's premium.
Okay.
So if a card sells for $500, think it's $104. So you actually get 4% kickback from that 20% buyer's premium, and the 16% is really the fee. And as the value of the card goes up, a percentage of your kickback as a seller goes up as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So really, I mean, breaking it down, is this just a way to incentivize sellers to sell their best cards with you guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately,
why not? Right?
I think the kickback on the BP on the buyer's premium is it's an incentive to really show that we're not here to, we want the seller to really feel like they're getting something back from that buyer's premium, and it's been well received.
This is why I've mentioned these guys for 5 years, because they really have like the collector, the buy, the seller and the buyer, and like you guys are thinking through the whole ecosystem and making it work. I have one more question on the vault that I know our audience, because we have an international audience, fortunate, and so they want to like do what I did when I was in Spain, but I had a U.S. address. So is there? There's got to be some legality behind it, because it's not just Fanatics Collect vaulting service that requires a U.S. address. I think it's pretty much everybody requires one. Feel free to pass on this, but is there a way to work with an international audience using the vault?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll take this. So you can have on your Fanatics Collect account, you can have a Hong Kong address, or Hong Kong is a little bit more problematic on international shipping, but it's possible. Or like I have a client who lives in Australia, and a perfect example, on his account, his address is an Australian address.
Okay.
And he can ship. Now there's taxes and customs fees with shipping internationally to the U.S. and vice versa, of course. But we also have a service with our logistics team where we can actually assist with insured labels in certain international places within certain countries.
Okay.
It's not a perfect system. There's certain areas where you really get like stonewalled with like trying to insure 50K
moving items
from
across
FedEx
borders is out of your control.
Right. So we do everything we can, but we it's not a requirement. It's more about the logistics of being able to ship from that country to Oregon.
But if someone, we've got listeners in Australia, Europe, Canada, UK, all that, they want to buy sports cards from a U.S. seller, they could easily just ship them to the vault. And not have to worry about any of that, right?
Honestly, that is probably for somebody who lives internationally from outside of the U.S. That's probably the number one incentive right there.
Okay.
Because if you buy, say you buy a card on any platform, but that card is within the U.S., you're right up front. You're saving money by sending that card to the vault in Oregon at Fanatics Collect. And it's secured, insured. It's a level 3 bank vault within our building, run by our employees. I mean, it's and ultimately you're saving on those fees and those shipping costs that would potentially come with. If
you guys didn't exist, like I don't think I would have been able to get my start flipping cards when I was in Spain. Honestly. And go ahead, Jed. Do you have something to add?
Yeah, something else to build off it. We have the highest resolution imaging in the industry, so when that card comes in, we image it. It's like a portfolio. I tell it to my clients all the time who are curious about the vault. It's like a portfolio for your cards, right? You can see them easily. You can click the pictures. It's beautiful. So it's a great way for international clients to and everyone, but to be able to see their cards at the highest resolution and have them stored fully insured. So
that's super important in terms of how much money you can get back if you're listing on the marketplaces. I mean, and you guys do the videos too. You have some videos
the only videos we are currently doing right now is for our NBA authentication. So we have raw card authentication for $3
right.
and $6.
Okay.
$3 straight to auction, $6 at vaulted. And we do little, back to or side to side.
Somebody flipping it and showing
while they're going through that process.
Yeah.
We also have done videos in the past, but we're doing short form videos for premier items right now.
Okay.
We used to do some really lengthy ones, and as we've kind of compressed our service and wanted to kind of speed up the efficiency of it, we do some feedback from clients. We do sort of short form videos for premier.
Okay, I thought of one last thing that I think I want to give you guys an opportunity to talk about, because my understanding is that like you are kind of an industry leader in this, and it's the eye appeal, right?
Yes.
You have an eye appeal system.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So just talk about that.
Yeah, so the AES eye appeal has been around for a number of years. It was started by the founder of PWCC years back, and honestly, it's the concept of not every PSA 9 is created equal. You could put say 52 mantle, tops 52 mantles, 6s, 3 of them right next to each other. And the resolution, the color pop, the little intricate details that might show up on that are problematic for cards aren't there on one.
Totally.
And you can really tell. And I'm probably not doing this.
No, you're doing a great job.
The AES expert is actually
okay.
Here, so we should have brought him
okay.
up. But
we'll talk to
really
him at Fanatics Fest maybe if he's there.
Sure.
Okay.
That's really the difference is like, you put those 7s next to each other. They're just, a lot of times they're just not created equal. They look differently and they're just in better condition, better centered. And A is top 30% within the space for that grade. E is 15, and an S is the top 5%. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, and eye appeal is for any card 1986 and before. So just
Yeah.
For vintage cards.
For vintage. Okay, so guys, hopefully we did a good job bringing you some information about Fanatics Collect. I mean, we're all geeks, so we could keep talking about this. If you guys have any comments or questions, drop them below. You guys know how to get a hold of me, and I'll try to hook up with these guys at Fanatics Fest too, and we'll keep the content coming. Anything else you guys want to add about anything you got going on?
Thank you for the interview. This was great.
Yeah, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. All right. If any of you are having any trouble with the transition between PWCC and Fanatics Collect, any trouble with your accounts related to your vault, related to your auctions, anything like that, please email me at paul@nooffseason.com. I'm happy to reach out to Jed, to Tony. I'm going to see him again in August at Fanatics Fest. And so I could speak to him face to face. If any of you are having any trouble, I'll show them your emails. So send me an email. Let me know what your issue is with Fanatics Collect, paul@nooffseason.com. Also, if you want to auction off your cards with Fanatics Collect, email me as well, because we've got a special deal through our partnership with Roadshow Cards. It's going to get you more exposure and potentially more money for your auctions. So email me at paul@nooffseason.com anytime you want to think about auctioning your card off with Fanatics Collect. I'm here to help you out. I'm also here to tell you about a new card grading service that we're launching for our premium members of nooffseason.com. So if you want information on that, please email me at paul@nooffseason.com. Become a premium member today. If you already are a premium member at nooffseason.com, this is big. This is big. I'm going to help you a lot with the grading of your cards. I'm going to save you money. I'm going to review your cards for you. Email me at paul@nooffseason.com, and I will get back to you on that. And speaking of grading cards, right now we've got, I say this a lot, I say, one of my favorite people in the hobby, Andy Broom. Let's go. VP of CGC Cards, card grader extraordinaire. Here's Andy Broom and I from the National. Great stuff coming up in this one. Okay, Sports Card Strategy Show, nooffseason.com fam. I am here with Andy Broom, VP of CGC Cards. We become good friends. At least I think we're friends.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm Paul Hickey, for those of you that don't know. And for those of you that maybe weren't with us several months ago, but that are new listeners, myself and Andy Kaysen of the Football Card Quest went down to Florida, visited the CGC facilities, had a phenomenal tour. Thank you for doing that.
Hey, thanks for coming down.
Absolutely. And so we're at the National in Cleveland in 2024, and a lot has happened at CGC that I want to talk about. But first, for those of you that don't know, Andy is a legend in the hobby. This is how many nationals for you now?
This is my 25th.
25th national. So, how is it? How's it going?
Man, I'll tell you, and this isn't hype. This is my 25th. This is the busiest I've ever seen it. Today, right now, this is Thursday. It looks like a Saturday for any other national. So and the other thing I've noticed is the age group, right? The amount of kids that are involved. I don't know how many kids I've talked to. I've looked at cards for them, given them an idea what they're. It's awesome. I love it. So, 25 years later, I'm seeing this not only grow, but it's getting younger. Kids are getting excited. They want to be involved in the hobby, and it's awesome.
Yeah, so many of you are unable to attend this year. What would you say to people out there in the nooffseason.com and CGC Cards family about maybe attending in future years?
Yeah, you got to do it once, right? If you're a card collector, a sports fan, whatever you may be, you got to go one time. And, next 2 years are in Chicago. I'm going to tell you, logistically, for you getting a good price on a flight, being able to stay near the show, being able to walk, not have to get a car, Chicago's the place to be for that. So, you missed this year in Cleveland, that's okay. Next year is a great opportunity. You don't want to spend a ton of money, but you want to see it, go once and see it. Yeah.
Andy is one of the most knowledgeable, relatable, relevant people in the hobby, and so I love to talk to him about his PC. I love to talk to him about grading cards. We'll get into some card grading questions in a second, but actually there's a lot of CGC news since we last met up in Florida. Yeah. Tell us about what's going on.
Well, as most people know, we acquired JSA autograph authentication service, and so we just announced publicly that went live this past week. So here at the show is really the first time where we're taking cards in for JSA. So me personally, I love it. I'm a big autograph guy. I've known Jimmy Spence now for, over 20 years. I've worked with him in the past, and so to be able to bring a full grading and authentication service to the hobby it's for me personally, it's a dream. I hope everybody else feels the same, but that's a really exciting thing. We also announced I've got 9 new holder sizes that just came out. I've got a signed T206 here, so you can see our JSA logo, but you can also see our new holder. And, I don't have to tell you about how clear our holders are, but these, the smaller cards like the T206s they're fire. I love it.
And the label with the JSA now with an authenticated auto, are you guys grading the auto yet, or is that coming next?
Yeah, so what's really cool is you have all the options in the world. So you can get the card graded, you can get the autograph graded, you can get both graded, or you can get neither graded. If you just want authentic only, such as this is a great example. So this is AU, as you see on the label, and this is just authentic card and authentic autograph. So we leave that up to you. On the online submission form, when you're submitting, you can select, what do I want? You can also set minimum grades. If I don't want the card less than a 9, then it won't be graded. It'll get the AU. So, we want to give as many options as we can to people.
New, amazing, relevant services. One thing I liked real quick, the National VIP gift bags had a slabbed V-Friends card sticker, special national piece in it, and SA grade for the sample. That was pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah. So, there's we have different options we can do. We can do numeric grades. We do the AU, as you see here. We can do cards that are altered but authentic. They'll get an AA, authentic altered. And sample just another one of those, the SA. It's a chance that we can get these cool, especially V-Friends. You can take something cool like the V-Friend stickers and be able to give those out to everybody,
Absolutely. So we want our audience to grade more sports cards with CGC because we always talk about not only the crystal clear holders, we talk about the reputable grading. That's very, very comparable with any other grading company, grading standards. We've talked about that. And we talk about the background, not only in TCG, but in comics, but also, I mean, sports cards, more and more sports cards need to be submitted to CGC. And I had a quick question for you because we've talked about this on the Sports Card Strategy Show a lot. Fictional athlete cards that aren't necessarily made by a major manufacturer. You guys have a way to handle that kind of stuff. So we've pontificated about it. What would Andy Broom say? Well, we have the man with us, so I wanted to ask him. And the audience will laugh, but I've got these Kyler Smith from KylerSmith.com. These are from the movie Hustle. Just an example of like what you might see from some of our audience members in the future. How do you approach something that is like not made by a major manufacturer, something you've never seen before? It's got this one particular, it's a image of Adam Sandler and a 76ers logo, so it's a little tricky, right?
No, and you know, one of the cool things about us, I'm a collector at heart, and so I want to do everything I can. And you know, we grade more types of cards than any other grading company. We're willing to do the research, whether it's 100-year-old European soccer cards or, you know, like these custom cards. And so the rule we have for something of this nature, you know, it uses an NBA logo, right? It's a fictional character, but it uses a real logo. So when we work with new manufacturers or whoever it may be, it's producing cards, you know, if we can see things like we need to see a license agreement for the league, and then we're golden. We can do that. And that's no different than, you know, Topps. You know, we know their reputation at this point. But if there's a new product that comes out and we're not unsure on the licensing, we need to see that. And so, you know, we're protecting everybody. We don't want to put something in a holder that's that has a licensed IP that's not licensed to show that, right? And so that's one of the things we do. We need to work with whoever it is, whatever manufacturer. Let's talk about your agreement, make sure that you have the licensing, and then we're good to go. So when you see it in our holder, you know we've done their due diligence.
That's awesome. One thing we were joking about is the level of detail that our audience wants. So let me ask you this. How would that process look like? Would somebody submit their cards? Is there something on the submission form for them to submit that additional information? Or will a customer service representative reach out and say, hey, we've got your cards, but we need to see X, Y, Z?
Well, it's actually a step before that.
Okay.
So, you know, for a customer sending in the card, we wouldn't be able to do it. What we'd have to have is that manufacturer, they need to contact us. Or if the customer knows that manufacturer, if they can reach out to us and say, hey, here's what we got, that's what we would need.
Okay, great. That's good to know. So I think, you know, my goal is to have us all submitting more sports cards and cards like this to CGC because, you know, quality grades and great reputation and only grading sports cards since 2021. So, but talk about real quick on that, speed. Also, one thing that we talk all the time about is declared value. You guys do it a little bit differently than some of the other companies. Just walk us through real quick, like some clarification around maybe the best way for our audience to bulk submit.
Yeah, you know, so one of our big focuses is turnaround times, right? I know it's everybody's, but it really is for us. And, you know, we've only been grading sports cards a few years, but our lineage in the grading world, we're the largest collectibles grading company in the world. We started 30 years ago in coins, and then in about 25 years ago, we started with comics. And so, you know, we've been doing this a long time, and it's important to us to keep that turnaround time. And so when demand rises, we rise to that. You know, we staff up. One of the cool things, I don't know if you got to meet Dr. Webb yet, he's here at the show, but he's the director of our education. And so we have classrooms, we have a lab, and Dr. Webb, that's all his job is training new graders. And so, you know, getting that turnaround time down is paramount. We know that. Me as a collector, I don't like waiting for my cards either. So, you know, those are the things that we're doing to speed up that turnaround time and that process. Because, look, nobody wants to wait any longer than they have to. You have to wait for months and months and months for your cards to come back. That's no fun. That's no fun.
Absolutely. And we love the transparency. Like, we love the storytelling, understanding, like, how the process works, talking about Dr. Webb and the grading school. You've done events. That's where we first met at Mint Collective a couple years ago.
Yep.
Andy does a great job just educating about grading. So that's actually leads me to my last question is around, I think we all wonder this, because we all wonder, like, how much you're good at talking about card grading prep. You know, that's part of it. But some people out there just want to get the card graded, and they want a good grade, but they don't have time for the prep. Or actually, it's not that they don't have time for the prep. They're kind of scared to prep, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to mess up the card.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
when someone decides to just send in a raw card in the condition that it's in and not get it out and prep it in any way, can the grader tell that it hasn't been prepped? Or maybe a better question is, does it affect the grade in any way?
Yeah, I think the easy answer to that, or the short answer rather, would be, yeah, it can affect the grade. But, first off, I want to say I agree. I don't, there's a lot going around about prepping cards, cleaning cards, and things of that nature. And, some may say there's a fine line between cleaning a card and altering a card, right? And obviously we don't condone altering cards. But there's a lot that can be done in prepping a card that doesn't affect the you're not altering the state of the card. What we do is we use a microfiber cloth for chrome surface cards. We're going to wipe them down. So if you were to send a card straight from the pack or whatever directly to us, not doing anything to it, we're going to give that we're going to give that cursory wipe down. We'll wipe fingerprints off and things of that nature. We're not going to clean anything else off the surface. So if there's something that could be removed, whatever it may be, spilt something on or something, and it can wipe off, we'll do a gentle wipe, but we're not going to go further than that. So, you want to look at the cards, but the thing is, though, you can't go too far. If a card's scratched, you're trying to fill them in, buff them out, number of other ways that they're doing it, those are detectable. They're definitely detectable. And if we see those, unfortunately, we have to mark those as authentic altered. So, I've always said, get a good clean microfiber cloth. Always make sure it's clean. Wash it every once in a while. Wiping that card down, but you really don't want to do more than that. Yeah. It's kind of one of those things where it is what it is. There's only so much you can do. You try to go past that, and it's going to cost you.
Yeah. It's always awesome to talk to you. I appreciate your time.
I love coming on with you, man. It's great.
Okay, well, we're going to do much more of it. And before I let you go, just any last thoughts about, you're an amazing hobbyist, amazing person. Any last thoughts you want to leave us with as we roll through the rest of 2024, just the hobby, anything else going on at CGC that you want to talk about as people look to approach the end of 2024?
Well, for CGC specifically, we've announced so many things just in the last 7 days. It's a really fun time for me. I've been in the hobby for a while, and, we've got a lot more things coming up the rest of this year we're going to be announcing. But, I hear talk of doom and gloom in the hobby, and the hobby's dying and whatnot. And look, yeah, we're past the pandemic, right? We're past the large number of non-hobbyists who got into this, the flippers, that traditionally they didn't care about cards. We've gotten past that. We got people now who want to make money with cards or are just real collectors that don't care about the value. And I can tell you, this is a great example of this show that it's a really strong hobby. It really is, and it's not the stuff that everybody thinks either. It's the lesser. It's not the high dollar stuff, right? It's the cool stuff that everybody can afford. Vintage is super hot right now. Not even just the high end stuff, but just I can see kids starting to get into the vintage and what is this, checking it out. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is it's an exciting time to be in the hobby. And yeah, there's some things we've seen where prices have come down on some of the big ticket things, but this show right here, if you come in here and say that the hobby's dying, you clearly aren't in the hobby.
Yeah, at that point you just want drama and clickbait.
That's
right?
exactly right.
At that point.
That's right.
And I was just gonna say, Andy is card grader on X and Instagram, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't really know how to put out content in the hobbies. Everybody at CGC actually does a really good job. Andy does a fake card of the week or month or whatever's relevant, and I think it's a perfect example of just being relevant in the hobby, trying to help everybody out. That's really what it feels like you're about to me.
100%. Look, I'm not monetizing anything off of social media. To me, the education in the hobby is number one. I love being able to educate. Look, nobody taught me how to grade almost 30 years ago. I had to learn on my own. And I take a lot of pleasure in sharing that knowledge. I got to pass it down, because if I don't, who else will? And so showing off a fake of the day and showing off different things like that, I'm wanting to get people out there to learn more about cards. And listen, the more educated you are as a consumer, the better experience you're going to have and the better you're going to do. There's nothing more disappointing than, and I'm going to plug this, sorry, because it's relevant, but on my website, andybroom.com, I just wrote an article about how I got into cards, and it started by buying some reprints that were altered to look like real cards, right? And that's a bad experience. And so I don't want people to have that experience. I want people to be educated to go, you know what? I saw this guy talking about this. I know to flip it over and look at this, things like that. That's what I want to pass on.
Thanks for making us all smarter, man.
That's what I'm trying.
You're the man. Card Grader, AndyBroom.com, CGCCards.com, CGC Cards everywhere on social media, crystal clear holders, affordable pricing. You know what to do. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
What, I mean, how do you not love Andy Broom? Seriously, like, he's full of knowledge. He answers questions straight on. Like, we all want to get better at grading. We all want that gem, right? I mean, he's trying to help everybody, whether you're grading with CGC or not. He's just trying to help you. That's why you got to love him. I mean, that's why I love working with CGC. And again, I mentioned a new service we're launching exclusively for premium members of nooffseason.com, card review and grading. Got a lot of people helping me with that. Aligned with a lot of great people in the hobby. CGC Cards, Nash Cards. We've also got Mr. Minty. Don't forget to go to mrminty.com and save 15% off your entire order by using the promo code NOOFFSEASON, using that microfiber cloth that Andy Broom mentioned in that interview. All right, now, Andy mentioned people being in the hobby for a lot of different reasons. My guy, Jeremy Lee of Sports Cards Live, loves to talk about people in the hobby for a bunch of different reasons. He and I sat down. We've got 2 interviews left here on this episode of the Sports Card Strategy Show. Let's get into it with Jeremy Lee. We were at the National Live studio in the middle of everything. What did we talk about? Let's go.
All right, back in the National Live podcast studio here. This is the second day of the National 2024 Cleveland. I couldn't be happier but to be here at this show. I feel like I'm in my element. I'm now joined by my friend Paul Hickey of the Sports Card Strategy Show and nooffseason.com. Paul, are you as happy to be here as I am?
My brother, the party started at my gate in the airport. People wanted to start a trade night at the gate. So the National is worldwide. People know about it, and they're starting the party as soon as they're at their gate at the airport. So I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, no, right on. You know, as I was walking through the floor today, I ran into Grayson from Cherry Collectibles in Australia, and I said to him, you know, you came from across the world to this show, and that just shows how far-reaching this hobby is and how important the National Sports Collectors Convention is to the whole hobby, to us as real hobby participants. It was great to see him. There's people, they come here from Europe, they come from South America. My buddy Frankie Gonzalez is here. We got you know, you got people coming from Ecuador, you got people coming from Sweden, you got and all over Asia. I'm from Canada. I don't really feel like Canada's too far away. It's, you know, we're connected, so it's no big deal. But I'm super happy to be back here in the podcast studio booth again. Today's my second time sitting here. And Paul, the reason why I asked you to join me in here is because you have a unique approach to the hobby. You do content yourself, but you are not really a collector. Are you a collector? Yes or no?
No, not at all.
You're not a collector. Tell the audience, what is it that you do? How do you participate in the hobby?
Okay, first of all, thank you, Jeremy, for having me on. Really appreciate the opportunity to do this. I am fascinated by sports information. I've always been a sports information geek. Long story short, fantasy sports was something that resonated with me in the early 2000s. And sports cards, to me, at the risk of upsetting some people, is like fantasy sports.
Take the risk.
Yeah. It's fantasy sports to me, but with an asset. So for someone like me who grew up wanting to be a GM of an NBA team, of an NFL team, of an MLB team, of an NHL team, can't leave out the NHL when I'm talking to Jeremy.
Do not.
That would be a bad idea.
Do not leave out. It's one of the 4 major sports.
Absolutely. So it's a dream for me to be like, okay, to wake up basically as a 40-year-old after collecting as a kid. So I was a collector. Got rid of everything. It wasn't worth anything anyway.
Yeah.
But it's a dream to be able to wake up as a 40-year-old and all of a sudden be like, oh my gosh, like when you grade a card Or there's some type of wiggle room with raw cards. For the most part, we can all agree on a price. It's a dream to be able to like build a team of cards and trade them. And I think the only difference between myself and a collector, I think we all do the same things. I just don't hold my cards long term. I love the process of acquiring the card, looking at the card, appreciating it. I just don't keep it long term.
So, and I also love the process of acquiring a card, holding it in my hand, looking at it. It's so funny because you're talking about 2.5 by 3.5 inches of real estate, about 8.25, I believe, or just under 9 square inches of real estate, and yet there have been millions and millions of different cards made, and they all look different. And that to me is like the designers of cards are limited to that little rectangular space. This isn't the floor, this isn't that hundreds of thousands of square feet. They have very small space to work with, and they continue to come up with original designs. Although they do go back and recreate old designs too. But I love looking at the aesthetics of a card, obviously the subject matter, who the player is, and I like to hold my cards, not all of them. I do buy cards to sell, but I also buy cards to hold for the very long term. I'm talking 25-year type of horizon. But you don't. You like to get in and out of them, and you do not collect. So are you in this hobby to make money?
Yes, I am. And I think I'm 100% owning that in all of my content. Literally at the beginning of every single one of my shows, I say, I am here to help you make money flipping sports cards. And I will always own that. I will say this though, one of the things I'm passionate about that I bury the lead a little bit. The lead really is, I want to help people make fiscally responsible decisions, because the reality is pretty much all of my audience is middle-aged men with families who want sort of this enjoyment out of the hobby. And they're trying to be fiscally responsible, but to your point about there being millions of cards, because there's millions of cards, unless you're educated, you can kind of screw yourself over if your intention isn't to hold the card that you're buying. So I really want people to have an opportunity to figure out what they want to do, what's going to make them happy. And if they want to make money flipping sports cards, I'm here to help them do it.
There's definitely money to be made in the hobby, and one of the nice things for people who approach it like you do is that you're actually flipping these assets, as you referred to them, which are fun. You can actually be a sports fan and apply your sports knowledge to the flipping of cards, because it's easy to buy the wrong card. So number one, there's two levels here. First of all, you have to know which cards to buy, because there are a lot of cards that are just not worth money. Now, if you're in this for the money, you have to know which cards to buy, and then you also have to know or have a gut feel for which players to buy. And that's a two-pronged process, because if you buy the wrong players, you're going to be left holding the bag. Now, I want to ask you about which players you focus on, basically old, retired, or new. But before that, you said something earlier about it's like fantasy. And I just want to tell you a quick story. When I was younger, and not that much younger, like in the 90s and the 2000s, I've been going to hockey pools since the mid-80s. And when in the 90s or so, I started to think to myself, okay, this is my team for the year. I want to get everybody's rookie card and put them in like one of those 9-piece frames and just have my team there. And then every year you'd have a different like plaque of all your players for your fantasy team. Now, if you are losing and if you're in the bottom, it's not so much fun. I don't necessarily want to remember that lineup, that roster I had. But when you win your fantasy league, I think it's a nice way to commemorate it by putting those cards on display. Now, for you, even for you, as a guy who doesn't want to hold your cards, is that something you could see yourself doing and holding them? Because who cares about the value? It's take me back to when you won your fantasy. Would you ever do that?
Okay, some people, like some friends of ours, like Mike LaCusta, Iowa Dave, those guys, They're gonna be surprised. I think you just nailed what could get me to be a collector. I think people have been trying, Jeremy, people have been trying to get me to be a collector. I think you just nailed it. Because the answer is yes, that is cool. Yeah. That is super cool what you just said. And I think my whole point is know why you're gonna hold the card, right? And I think you brought up a good point. I heard secondhand that you said, who cares? What if you just like the card? That's fair too. But what you just said is really cool with your hockey pool team. That would be something I would do as a fantasy football trophy, for example, or like a toilet bowl thing if you had a bad team. You know, because then you can make fun of your friends and make fun of yourself if you had the bad team. I like that.
I think that's a fun idea. Now, I present this idea to you and I present it to anyone watching or listening. I never actually did that, but because I have lots of cards in my collection, but I never actually did it. Maybe I didn't ever win my fantasy. That could be the reason. But I still think that to the side. I think that's a fun way to commemorate your sports fan memories and tying it into sports cards. And hey, man, you said it yourself. You love fantasy. It's like fantasy and sports cards. But let's get back to what you're really doing. And so I want to come back to the question that I presented earlier, which was, do you invest in or purchase cards to flip of players that are retired, or do you focus primarily on active players? And if so, are you limiting it to like rookies and prospects?
Yes, I'm 99.9% active players, rookies and prospects. You already said the right card for the right player, so that's what I'm focused on. But I add a third element to that, the right time. It has to be the right time. Because you can make money just flipping one player. You can make money flipping the same card over and over again. It just has to be at the right time. It has to be the right card for that player. So I'm 99.9% focused on currently active players, that the right rookie cards of those players. I would say though, Michael Jordan has some cards that go up and down that are desirable that you can play the timing game with, or you can try to look at a selling marker for a guy like that. It's hard. See, I focus on selling markers.
Explain that.
Okay. Because not everybody can be at a card show all the time. What I've done at nooffseason.com and the Sports Card Strategy Show is come up with a way for people to do this from home. And so to make money flipping sports cards from home, you not only have to have the right card for the right player, but you have to have a selling marker in mind, meaning something in the future has to be on the calendar for the value of that card to go up within the next 3 to 6, maybe 9 months. Otherwise, it's very, very risky. Not only that, but a selling marker, there's a selling marker and a sell-by date. I'll try to do this real fast.
Okay.
The sell-by date would be something on the calendar like a draft coming up, a free agency period, maybe the start of a season, maybe that player is in a contract year. Players changing teams, we know there's a new fan base, that could be a selling marker because there's more demand for the card. Then there's a sell-by date because selling markers can happen before that in the form of a performance spike. If you're lucky enough to get a performance spike, which basically just means the player balls out or top shelves or whatever the hockey term for that would be, goes into the 9-hole, right? Gets a hat trick. You can make way more money off of a performance spike of a player than a selling marker. So a sell-by date would be something like I mentioned, where it would be like a draft, a free agency period at the beginning of a season, because what happens after that is the value of that card goes down. So I want people getting in and out quickly. Collectors hate this, but that's okay. I'm making them money to fund their PC.
You're right.
And collectors are better flippers than a lot of people that are flipping. So that's what I mean when I say selling marker. You got sell by date, like the milk's gonna expire, you gotta sell it by that time. Price is gonna go down, you're gonna have to throw it out. Or you got a selling marker ahead of that sell-by date, like a performance spike or something else that happens that was unanticipated that makes the card's value go up.
My first response to all that is that you have developed your own hobby lexicon. You should have a glossary with definitions for what all these terms mean, because you're literally building yourself a manual. You have a manual and you are educating your audience on it within your content. I think that's pretty neat right there. Now, if you're collecting a player, or if you're investing in a player, and they have a performance spike, you don't know when that's going to happen. I think it's really important. And here's a question for you, because you can only sell into that performance spike if there are people that want to buy. So the sellers are the ones who I think they have the advantage. What do you say to the buyers who are buying at that time?
I say be careful, because if you're PCing that player, you might want to wait till the price comes down just to save some money. But I think the counterpoint to that is a lot of these cards have rarity, and a lot of these cards might not come up for sale all the time. And so if you are a collector and you want to buy in at one of these performance spikes, that might be the only time that card's available for you. So it depends on the card, depends on the situation, but I think I just say be careful, because know what you want to do. If this is a Prism Silver PSA 10, there's a lot of those, chances are. And so just wait until the price comes down. But there's always a market for that. There's always going to be people buying. And so, and I learned the hard way about 5 years ago. Like, I made a lot of mistakes, and that's what I want people to learn. I want people to learn from my mistakes. And is the hobby, are these cards liquid enough so that, like, when you talk about a Prism Silver or these common cards, they are very liquid. So even if you buy a card at a time, like right after a performance spike, because the seller's like, okay, I'm going to sell this now because I'm going to get more money for it than what I paid, because there's more eyes on this guy. He just hit 3 home runs in 4 games, or whatever it may be. If you're the person buying that, you're paying a premium, but you are also able to sell that card if that premium doesn't hold and it comes back. If the performance starts to falter off, it's going to come down in value most likely, or it might be an indication that this player is busting out. He's having a breakout season. That's when it's really good for the buyers. I think that makes sense to me. I want to ask you, I want to switch it up right now. Paul, we are at the National. How can people who approach the hobby like you exploit the National, being in here? Is there room in this room for arbitrage and that sort of thing? How do you apply your strategy to this week at the National? That is a phenomenal question, because it's totally different than what I said a minute ago about helping people scale this online from home. It's totally different. And so what I would say is, if you've been buying cards online with the selling marker in mind, for example, when you come to an event like this and it's not the selling marker yet, so like, for example, like, it's the last week of July right now, football's starting to heat up. If you're up on some football cards, bring them to the National, see what happens. If you're waiting for another month, which when football is really hot, and a lot of players haven't been injured yet by the end of August, so we're like 1 month away from that. If you're not up, or you're waiting for that selling marker, leave those cards at home. Don't bring them to the National. Don't bring them to an event like this, because basically everyone's going to try to offer you 80 to 90% of the most recent sale. We call them comps, right? And we are at risk at that point of being at a loss. And so what we want to do is to make money at a card show, especially the National. We want to try to figure out a way where we can be the dealer. Now, it's not easy to get a table at the National, but there are ways to make transactions with other people at the event where you can be the dealer, and you can set your cards out. People can come to you. The move, Jeremy, is to buy other people's cards as the dealer and then sell them at the show, at the events around the show. And better yet, buy cards that will hold value over the next 3 months, 3 to 6 months, with future selling markers in mind. So it's a completely different strategy when you come to a card show versus trying to do it online. Yeah, I can see that for sure. Now, I want to talk about retired players. You talk about selling markers. You know, players pass away. We saw with Willie Mays very recently. Willie Mays died. You know, rest in peace, one of the greatest athletes of all time, a hero. When a player like that, of that caliber,
passes away, there is a rush on the cards. And you don't get it. Do you get involved in that at all? Like, is that something where you would want to capitalize?
It's something we talk about fairly often on the Sports Card Strategy Show. I think it's worth talking about because like Willie Mays and Jerry West, I think both passed away within a few weeks of each other, and they each had their largest card sales in a while during those the timing of their passing. So death is a selling market. We talk about that on the Sports Card Strategy Show. Different people feel differently about that. I've had a lot of people tell me that it's not morally wrong to do that. I think what I've been trying to boil this down because it's a big debate. I think there's a line, what I've learned is there's a line between something that happened with Damar Hamlin of the Buffalo Bills, where he went into the cardiac arrest on the field.
Right.
His card sales went through the roof when that happened. So really what it is being in the media. Being in the media for really any reason drives more eBay searches, which drives up more sales. I leave it to everyone else out there to do whatever they feel is best for them when an unfortunate event like death happens to someone. I think people also have an opinion. These are not my opinions, what I've learned from people. People have a strong opinion on don't do the Damar Hamlin thing, but it's okay to do the Willie Mays thing because he was X years old or whatever. And I think all the details matter. Cause of death, age, all of those different things. But to each their own, I guess.
I mean, remember Kobe. Kobe's a good example because a tragic death, untimely, unexpected, young man, young family, and his cards went bonkers when that happened. One thing to consider when a player does pass away is that they can no longer sign autographs. And sometimes you'll see people say, well, he's not signing anymore. And it's somewhat meant in jest, but it's actually pretty tragic, you know? And so I personally would not be a big fan of capitalizing on death in any way, but I understand it. We live in a capitalistic society. People have these cards in their showcases anyway. Are they supposed to take them out? Is it out of respect, or it's inventory for a lot of people? So it's a sensitive subject. I would personally err on the side of caution and respect and just not deal with it, right? But the fact is that now you're denying people who are like, oh, I love Willie Mays or I love Kobe Bryant. I want to acquire a piece to remember them by, and I want to acquire it now because this is when I'm the most emotional about it. And collecting is an emotional, activity. So I understand that, and if no one's willing to sell to them, then it's like, well, I can't find one but there will always be someone to sell, so it's never going to come to that. But I think that's an interesting angle to talk about as we talk about flipping cards, being in the hobby, being a hobby participant with the intention of buying and selling, not holding onto the cards very long. But I'm glad that through this conversation today, that I might have been the one person who was able to convert Paul Hickey of the Sports Card Strategy Show into becoming a collector. Paul, let's wrap this up, man. Thanks for taking the time to join me here. Guys, check him out, Sports Card Strategy Show on YouTube. NoOffSeason.com is the website. I'm Jeremy Lee from Sports Cards Live. Paul, thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy.
I had to play that interview, even though the audio was pretty brutal, just because I love my guy, Jeremy Lee. He always asks awesome questions. And, he and I are a lot alike in terms of bringing value to our audience. He brings great value to his audience, to our audience here at the Sports Card Strategy Show. And I give him many, 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 many thanks for pulling me into that national live podcast booth. So I had to play it. Always great talking to Jeremy. Big time shout out. All right. Before we get to our final interview, which I think is fire, by the way, with Jay of Wildcard, just real quick, don't forget to text sports cards to 1-833-992-5727 to get your cell alerts. So text sports cards to 1-833-992-5727. We will be sending out cell alerts later this week. Simone Biles, Sophia Smith, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Michael Phelps. And what about Katie Ledecky? What do they all have in common? The Olympics. Now, Phelps isn't active, obviously, but his cards are up. So find out which cards are up at nooffseason.com later this week. Text sports cards to 1-833-992-5727 so we can text you those sell alerts. Today's final interview is a phenomenal one. Let's get into player licensed cards with Jay from Wildcard. Here we go. Welcome back into the Sports Card Strategy Show, nooffseason.com fam. I'm Paul Hickey. I'm at the National in Cleveland 2024 with my guy, Jay from Wildcard. And I'm excited to talk to you, Jay. We were on the same flight here because we're both based out of the Nashville area.
Yes, sir. I'm happy to be here. Happy to talk to you guys. I think we're going to get a lot understood here and maybe answer some questions that you guys may have and that Paul may have for me, and I can help clarify anything for Wildcard. So I appreciate you having me here, Paul, and I'm ready to talk.
Ready to go. I love it. And our audience is all about learning new things, so I'm excited to talk to you.
Awesome.
Because you've been working hard personally, but Wildcard, we'll get into that in a second. Wildcard is a company that I'm fascinated by because my understanding is that you guys are doing big things with not as many resources as some of the other card companies. Talk about maybe the evolution of the brand a little bit and the company itself. Just tell us more, anything you want to share about Wildcard. We're all ears right now.
So as some of you may be aware, maybe not everybody's aware, Wildcard originated in 1991, I believe, and that was 30 years ago. It was Daniel Atkins and his two brothers, Mark and Doug Atkins. They were the first to create a parallel, so Wildcard is the original parallel. As you know, in the hobby now, the parallel is it's very important. Parallels stretch across all kinds of cards. The stripes, the Wildcard stripes were the first ever parallel. People were chasing those things down. They were loading up with the junk wax era cards and vanfuls looking for the 1,000 stripes. If you may not know, Brett Favre's rookie card, the most notorious one is the Wildcard 1,000 stripe Brett Favre rookie card. I've seen some go for about $25,000. So he's actually in an Atlanta Falcons uniform. Also, if you don't know Brett Favre history, played for the Falcons. So that's where it started. Daniel then had his son Ty Atkins, who's also a co-owner in this wild card we brought back in 2021. Right after the big COVID boom, it was the perfect time to step in. We saw the cards starting to kick back up, and we talked, why not? Why not us? So we started with nothing but a logo 4 years ago. This is our fourth national back. We've went from nothing. I mean, the cards, we didn't have a real manufacturer. They didn't even make trading cards. They made business cards. We formed into a trading card company that now is, we're in the 8-figure range probably a year and working to get to 9. So as you see by some of these cards that you guys have seen in the market and some of these boxes, I mean, we've come a long way since even the first year, and we're innovating. And I'll get into these products too, don't worry about it. But we're doing as much as we can, like you said, with the limited resources. We're basically a 3-man wrecking crew between me, Daniel Atkins, and Ty Atkins, 2 partners. They're both incredible at what they do. Ty runs collations and making sure the cards checklist and the collation, the boxes, and all comes together. He brings everything together. He's the COO. I can't even imagine doing what he does. Daniel Atkins, he's brought a lot of history and wealth of knowledge to me, Ty, and he's been the innovator of this thing for 30 years. So coming back, he's continued to innovate, and he's just been an incredible role model and leader for this company.
That's amazing. I didn't know any of that, and that's amazing history. And look at this, guys. They're on the grind, just like us. They are on the grind. We got Ryan Painter, loyal member of the nooffseason.com fam. The little card grind that all of you know and love so well, and the big card grind, Wild Card, Jay and crew, the 3-man wrecking crew, like he said. That's amazing. So, all right, I think the next 2 topics are going to blend together a little bit. So let's just blend it together.
Let's do it.
You guys have had to be creative to make a desirable product. And part of that creativity comes in with name, image, likeness deals with now NCAA athletes over the last few years. And so what is in the box? You could go, I'll let you take this, Jay. You can go box by box, tell us what's in the box, and then we can talk about NIL. Or if you want, if it makes more sense to you to talk about how you build the product based on the NIL deals you can get, take it away, man.
100%. NIL was a game changer. As some of you may know, you may not know, 2021 was when NIL got officially accepted, and I think it went all the way to the Supreme Court. So it took a long time. It was a long time coming. I was personally very happy about it. I was an athlete in high school, never went any further, but I would have thought that they should be paid. I actually wrote my senior high school paper on should college athletes be paid. They made me write on both sides, good and bad, but I was all for athletes getting paid. If you bring money to anything, you should get paid a fair compensation for what you're bringing money to. That's my opinion on it. NIL has opened the door to getting these guys very early. Granted, they're making money now, so like usually they were very hungry when it came time to be drafted. You know, they would sign the cards real quick. It makes it a little bit more difficult to get them now because they've already got money in their pockets. But for the consumers, you can get these cards so cheap. Like a Caleb Williams was at Oklahoma in 2021. You could have got those cards for $15 probably. Now he's a $300 one-on-one, you know. So NIL is great for the collector. It's great for the players. It's great for our company. I can't say enough good things about NIL. I think it's a vastly underrated part of the hobby, and I think people should pay attention a lot more to the college athletics.
Absolutely. Real quick before we get into the products themselves, because I know you guys are excited about that. I'm geeking out on like how does Jay go out and get athletes to sign stuff? Whatever you can share with us on that would be great.
It's all a puzzle. So you deal with a lot of agencies. You got a lot of reputable agencies, Athletes First, the WMEs, the CAAs of the world. Been good buddies with a lot of those guys for 4 years now since we started. And every week I get a new team of agents that are out to us. But that's not the case for all of them. I've contacted cousins, uncles, AAU coaches, moms, dads, players directly, pretty much any way I can. If I want you on my checklist, I'm going to get you some way or another.
Speaking of that, how do you determine who you want on your checklist?
I'm a big sports fan, just like many of you. I don't want to toot my own horn or anything like that, but I've always just had a knack for seeing the talent. I played, like I said before, I've seen what it takes to be great, and I know who's typically going to be the big dogs. Obviously, the hobby doesn't know, you'll be like, why did I pull this lineman? Why did I pull this linebacker, this corner? Well, the big-time agencies, if you want a C.J. Stroud, you want a Caleb, you want a Bo, you want a Drake May, you got to take some of these linemen. And also, it's good for the guys. These linemen deserve to make money off their names too. The Joe Walts of the world and the Olu Fashanus, they still have a place in this hobby. And there's people that do collect them. So who am I to not put them in the product and give them a chance to collect them? Not that we won't do specific checklists that are smaller. We do that. But I think it's okay with having linemen in there. And I can get my CJ Strouds as well for a cheaper price or just in general, then I'll take that.
I think a big portion of our audience would agree with you on that. We've got the Football Card Quest as part of the NoOffSeason.com sports card network, and I know they're doing a lot of prospecting around not only the quarterbacks, but the position players, maybe even collectors of the linemen like you're talking about. And before players get to the pros, the ability to have cards like the ones Jay is about to talk us through is critical for the people like the listeners of the Sports Card Strategy Show and the Football Card Quest. So I'm excited to get into the product. I have a couple more NIL questions first.
Okay.
With the growth of the sports card hobby, let me just say this as part of that comment. The wild card booth at the National is phenomenal. Like, they have one of the best, if not the best, setups here. Prime location. It is. If you don't think that cards like Wild Card are desirable, you weren't at the National because they've been jam-packed. So with that, awareness of the hobby, have these agents, these cousins, uncles, aunts that you've talked about, have they started to come to you knowing that you're a card manufacturer, knowing that the hobby is growing, and there's a lot of different things that athletes can take NIL money for?
Yep.
I would think that cards would be at or near the top of their list. Talk about that real quick.
100%. I would say cards are probably undeniably the top of the NIL list. Whether you're a quarterback, running back, receiver, or a lineman, cards are going to play a big part in your NIL. If you're not getting NIL trading card deals, you're really hurting. And a lot of these guys with the exclusives and stuff that's going on, I mean, I'm sure you guys are aware, it's making it very difficult to make sure we keep a wide berth of companies that get to compete. I'm not afraid of competing, and neither are my guys. You open up the deals to where we can use Caleb, we can use Drake, and we can use all these NIL guys. I'm comfortable in our designs hanging with anybody. I think there's a spot for everybody in this trading card industry, and let the people decide what they want. It shouldn't be based on who can throw the most money at a Caleb Williams, you know?
Or a CJ Stroud.
Or a CJ Stroud.
So, I'm glad you brought that up, because just kind of explain whatever you can explain about the timing of this, right? Because we see things like CJ Stroud's not going to be signing in Prism this year because he's Fanatics exclusive. You have CJ Stroud in your product with autographs, correct?
Correct.
Okay, talk us through that, whatever you can share about how that works. Timing, is it that you signed Stroud before he became Fanatics exclusive? Is it just that simple?
Correct.
Okay.
It's that simple, but how that comes may not be as simple. My contract pre-existed the Fanatics deal. So we got the autos. We made some incredible CJ Stroud products, as I'm sure you know. We did the first CJ Stroud exclusive box, not exclusive to him, but exclusive box where every card in the box is a CJ Stroud. No one was doing that. He's on the foil wrap. He's on every card. I mean, we've took CJ Stroud, I feel like, to the next level. We did the first thumbographs. We have a thumbprint card with CJ Stroud's authentic thumbprint in the card, embedded in the card.
I mean, Jay is Jane, I wish I could poach him from Wildcard to come work for me, because he's just as good, if not better, at prospecting than all of us. So we really need to follow Wildcard now. I mean, that's incredible.
I appreciate it.
Backup quarterback at Ohio State, and he's going out and signing him. And look at where it's kind of helped take the company. So props to you for that. And NIL, you mentioned competition. We've talked a lot about football.
Yep.
How do the other sports come about? Because and talk about who was here yesterday at your booth.
Okay. The other sports, baseball's still pretty good. I still got a lot of NIL baseball players. I would say a good 10% of the baseball checklist is NIL, and then they become draft. So we had 7 of the top 10 picks this year in the draft. In our most recent project, five-card draw baseball. Maybe the draft is about 25-30%, and then minor leaguers. Pete Rose was in our booth. That's where we're getting to. Pete Rose. Basketball is a little hard. Sorry, I'm going to bounce around a little bit. I'm trying to answer 2 of your questions. Basketball is a little bit difficult. Panini's pretty much, they've dug their nails into the exclusives on the basketball. Panini Prism's a very desirable product. The hobby really loves it. We've kind of stepped back in the basketball space. I'm getting into the retired guys, so I have Hakeem, Shaq, Allen Iverson, Clyde Drexler. We even got Steph and Kevin Durant. But as far as the upcoming draft guys, it's pretty limited. We got Dalton Connect. I'm a big Tennessee guy, so having Dalton go to the Lakers was top tier. So basketball is, it's a little bit weird. We're going to go into multi-sport. We'll put some multi-sport basketball and baseball and football and UFC and NASCAR and everything else that, I don't know, tennis, for maybe a handful of people. So the NIL is going to stretch across a lot of things, and also pro look. So multi-sport's our next big step other than entertainment. We plan on doing a lot of entertainment.
Awesome. We're segueing into the actual wildcard product here, I promise. But 2 things I want to bring up to get us there. Number 1, we all know the bigger manufacturers that have more than 3 people grinding it away are slow. They're very, very slow. They're behind, right? You guys also, we've hit on it, but we haven't come out and said it. They have licensing for the sports leagues or the universities. You guys don't. Talk about speed as it relates to getting product to the market, the importance of that, and talk about how you deal with the fact that technically your products are unlicensed.
Got you. Yeah, I appreciate that question. It's a very loaded question. So what I would say is, like you said, we're nimble. The bigger companies, they have their set projects that come out every year. Prism, or for Topps, it's Chrome. I don't know all their brands, but I know they do the same, Origins and Chronicles and that stuff. Whereas we are light on our feet. We're quick. We come up with something 1 week. Within a week, it's at the press, and we got it on the line. And then you got a CJ Stroud Comics box. You got a Joker's Wild box. Comes together in a week. We're so quick to just turning things around. It's 3 of us to decide on designs. Then we get them to our graphic designers. I don't want to say, when I say it's a 3-man wrecking crew, the overhaul is us 3. We have a great team behind us of people that package for us. Our graphic designers are great, and we're adding to that daily. So we have so much products going on. We need an unlimited supply of graphic designers, but we're nimble and we can do things a lot quicker than the big companies, and that's how we, I think that's how we hang.
Yeah, I love that. That's how we try to be. So I think we're alike in a lot of ways. Like, I'm happy to be learning more about Wildcard, and I think I'm most excited to be learning about the product. So Jay, walk us through like each product and like along the way, like what's in it, yeah. How do you put it together? Are people building sets? Are they chasing something? Like, just talk to us about everything.
Yeah, 100%. We've definitely realized the case hit is a big deal. Our previous products didn't have enough of it. To a tier of like a case, it would be like a box hit. We try to make sure every box, even if it's going to a kid and his dad, has something in it. It's we don't want a box where the person buys one box and then they just get nothing. You buy a case or you buy a box, we're going to try to take care of it. So I want to talk about some of these national boxes that we built in the past 2 weeks, by the way. These came together. This is the Automatic American Football Edition Painted Eagle. This design was made no less than a month ago. We put this entire box together in this entire design within a month. This checklist is very small. It is very niche, and it's very loaded. You're looking for Patrick Mahomes Painted Eagles, Josh Allen, Drew Brees. You got got Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy, Drake May. It's an extremely loaded box. You got dual autos in here. Talking about a Brett Favre, Dan Marino, a Drew Brees, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, Dan Marino. We got all kinds of duels in here as well. So that's your big hit. You're like, oh, I'm chasing that Dan Brett duel. And I love this box. It's a very small, minute detail, but these boxes actually are printed on different foils too. So this is a circle foil, but we have rainbow foil. We have your box. You could buy 2 boxes and have 2 different foils. I don't know anyone doing that. That's one thing.
That's super cool. Can I ask a couple questions about this real quick?
Go for it.
You put this together in 2 weeks for the National. Brilliant idea. How can people not at the National pick up one of these? Is it possible for them? Is it going to be hard?
For these,
selling out at the National.
These are pretty exclusive to Wildcard, just in general, but we do have an Inside Trader program where if you go to wildcardinsidetraders.com, you can sign up and get inside deals. Like, we'll post an email and you guys will get a chance to buy boxes or cases for that matter at that website. So you can buy it, and these will be available either tonight or tomorrow on the Inside Traders. So sign up.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, what else?
We got Joker's Wild. This has been the hit of the show right here, guys. This is a box with 5 one-on-ones in it. That's it. There's 5 packs in here, all encased. Another thing that I think we do exclusively. I don't know anyone else that encases every single card that we produce. This has 5 one-of-ones, 4 non-auto one-of-ones, and a guaranteed 1-of-1 auto with the exclusive white Joker. I don't know if we can see that, but we got a white Joker auto of J.J. McCarthy right there on the back of the box. The Joker was actually a case hit from a past product. So everyone was chasing that Joker. You had to buy an entire case to hit that Joker, and people were willing to do it. We decided to make a Joker's Wild box and load them up for you guys, and add the white Joker auto to be the cherry on top.
That's
and
sick.
It's been
That's
really
sick.
good for everyone.
Love it.
So we'll segue out of that one and into the Dynamite box. Now this box will always have a special place in my heart. The Dynamite was a great card that was, again, a case hit. And this was the one when I got Big Bad Pat Mahomes in first. As we have a big Dynamite wall behind. I don't know if you guys have seen it or if you'll see it in the future, but Pat Mahomes, this was the first project that he was in. Went myself, me and my partner Ty Atkins, and we met Pat Mahomes and got the signing done. I believe it's the only signing he's done since his rookie year. And
Wow.
Wild Card Trading Cards got it done.
Wow, well done. Well done. Congratulations.
Pat Mahomes
That's
autos,
solid.
Pat Mahomes 1-of-1s, 1-of-5s, pull a nuke out of these things. So they've been flying, and it'll always have a special place in my heart. Like I said, this box I think it'll live on for a long time.
For sure. That's amazing. So I've got one of these, and I'd like to give the one that I have, I'd like to give it away to an audience member.
Okay.
So what's in the pack, the exclusive national pack? Talk about that.
Yeah, so this is actually a promo. This is something else we do, I think, exclusively. Again, sorry, we're doing a lot of things first, and I want to make sure it's well known. Automania American Football, our hobby product, has 8 autos in a box. These have all American themed backgrounds. So you got a Statue of Liberty, a Mount Rushmore, a couple different American flags, vintage, current, washed, and this is a promo pack for that. So what it is it's a non-autoed version. Typically, we've decided to throw autos in randomly so you guys can chase the auto. 1 in every 10 packs of these on average. We also printed the national logo right on the pack. So if you didn't want to rip and you just want to hold it for 10, 15, 20 years, this has got our 2024 draft football in here. So your Caleb's, your Drake's, your JJ's, your Bo Nicks, all those guys, Brock Bowers, Malik Neighbors, they'll all be in here. And this product I think we'll appreciate pretty well.
That's awesome. Jay, this has been very educational for me. I knew almost none of this. And so I hope all of you learned a lot. Let us know in the comments what you learned, what other questions you have for Wildcard, because we'd like to continue to collaborate with them. Jay's awesome. And anything else you want to add?
I was going to say, I need to add one more thing. I never got to really stick on that non-licensed.
Go for it.
All right.
Wait, let me tee you up for this.
Yeah,
let me
this is
tee
my
you up
speed.
for this.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because this is exactly what happened. This is cool, by the way. So one of our nooffseason.com employees is the sister of one of the Wildcard employees. And we were all on the same flight together. And so that's how I got introduced to Jay on the flight here from Nashville to Cleveland. And I said to the person that I know well, I said, yeah, I think our audience is going to have questions about the whole unlicensed thing. And Jay reached across the aisle and was like, hey, man, I want to talk about that. I want to hit that head on. So go for it, brother.
Yes, sir. So what I'd like to say about the unlicensed market is there's no sincerity and there's no realness to the fact that we're unlicensed. We're not making knockoff cards. I am signing every player directly. We are signing player licensed cards. Player licensed is exactly what we are doing. And so when you see a CJ Stroud card pulled from a wild card pack, or you see a Caleb Williams pack, or a Jahmyr Gibbs, or a Samuel L. Jackson, or a Clint Eastwood, for that matter, we're doing entertainment now, it's not unlicensed. It's licensed by the athlete or entertainer themselves. So in my mind, I can't really understand why the Bears logo, or the Jaguars logo, or the maybe Star Wars logo or something really is what the selling point is. When I pull a CJ Stroud card, I wanted that because it was the CJ Stroud. I didn't want a Texans card. I didn't cheer because I pulled the Texans. I cheered because I pulled a CJ Stroud. And I might be a fan of CJ Stroud. I might know it's worth more money. But at the end of the day, the secondary market's going to be the one that determines the value of that alone. My auto is no different than the auto that you would, I would say Panini. They didn't have that one. The Fanatics auto that you pull from CJ Stroud, it's the same hand that's drawing that auto, and you're getting mine at a significantly cheaper price and probably significantly more often. We really try to load our boxes heavily. I get the best prices I can for you guys so that I can throw more and more value into the boxes. And I just wanted to clarify that. We're not unlicensed. This is a player licensed company. And if there ever is a license open up, just know that I don't see anyone competing.
Wildcard's going after it. I mean, what a great point. What a great point. Like, they're doing the work. They're getting the player that you guys all want. And I love what Jay said, too. Secondary market determines the value of these cards. And you mentioned competition earlier. And I want to say this because we've had some of your competitors on our show without even me realizing that you're like, I don't think of it as like, oh, this is a wildcard competitor, but it is. And I love what you said. Like, there's something in it for everyone, welcomes the competition, and there's more and more momentum coming from the wild card-esque companies of the world. And so I believe a lot of you agree with everything Jay said. I believe a lot of you agree. But I think we both want to know, like, how do you feel? Like, drop a comment. Let us know. Contact us. And I'll segue into, speaking of contact us, if people want to buy your product and they're not here right now at the National, or they weren't here at the National, what's the best way for them to connect with you online? Drop your socials, drop your website, like, plug it right now.
Gotcha, yeah. Wildcard trading cards on most platforms. You will also have Wildcard is back on a few like Instagram and I believe Twitter. But the best way to connect is we're going live on Whatnot. We're just getting started on TikTok, so you're going to be able to see us on TikTok. I personally break for a lot of that. There may be occasional other breakers, but I do some breaking, so you can ask player questions or product questions on those. Inside Traders, like I said, wildcardinsidetraders.com is a good place if you want to buy significant margins.
My goal is to be Jay's friend so that I can learn more and then we can do this more. Great job, man. Thanks for being on the Sports Card Strategy Show.
Thank you guys for having me, and I appreciate you, Paul. And I'm looking forward to any more questions you guys have in the future.
Great stuff there from Jay at Wildcard. Do you agree? Would you go player licensed over professional sports league licensed? Will they be equal one day? They're not equal now. The market decides. What's your take? Let me know. Drop a comment below at youtube.com/Paul Hickey. Email me at paul@nooffseason.com. I just want to hear from you. Also, don't forget the new service we're launching exclusively for premium members of nooffseason.com, card review and grading. You can email me directly, whether you're a premium member or not, and we'll get you started. I'll get you all the information you need to know on that. Stay tuned for Wednesday's episode. That's our next live episode here at youtube.com/Paul Hickey or wherever you get your podcasts. We're going to go through our profits, pickups, lessons learned, and strategies coming out of the National, moving forward and into the rest of 2024 and into 2025. Everybody, have a great day. We'll see you again soon. Thanks so much for being here with us on the Sports Card Strategy Show. To connect with us further, please subscribe to the YouTube channel at youtube.com/Paul Hickey. Please also give us a follow on Instagram at Sports Card Strategy and on X at No Off Season Card. We also have a Discord that you could join at sportscardstrategy.com. Everyone, I'm Paul Hickey. For the rest of us here at nooffseason.com, have a great day. We'll see you again soon.